Happy Tuesday, folks. Welcome back to hashtag AskGSM here today for Tuesday, March 3rd, I think it is. Yes, indeed, March 3rd, 2026. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well coming off Elimination Chamber this past weekend. A lot to get into here today for episode 640, so thank you for tuning in, whether it be live or after the fact. I appreciate the support. A lot of chatter, a lot of conversation going on right now, specifically around WWE coming out of that Chamber pay-per-view, going into the Chamber pay-per-view this weekend. We have a lot to talk about here today on the show. So if you have any issue hearing me or seeing me, please let me know. Sometimes we do have technical difficulties here on the show. I think it should be smooth sailing, though. I apologize for the delay in starting the show here today on this fine Tuesday afternoon. I have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff still to do, but we are here on Tuesday on hashtag AskGSM. I appreciate you guys joining me. Let me pull up the chat real quick to make sure we're good to go. I guess we are good to go because Richie said keep that beard going. So I would assume that would mean that you guys can hear me loud and clear and that we are good to go here on this fine Tuesday. So again, I appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We will pull up the chat on the other side. I should go. We will pull up the chat momentarily. Until then, though, do want to go over some quick housekeeping stuff that includes shouting out the channel members. Here today in episode 340 of the show. Those include Alexis, Miss Bond Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau himself at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information on how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member down below in the description box. You'll get badges and emojis, access to badges and emojis here in the live chats on these live streams. You get early and ad-free access to certain videos here on the channel and a few other perks as well, so consider signing up for that, supporting the channel. And that's really about it. If you want to send in a question to the show, you could do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine, by tweeting me at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/gram.gsm.matthews. We'll drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Facebook on Monday nights, and I'll include the question in next week's episode, as well as right here on YouTube after the video is done processing and include a question in the comment section. I'll include your question in next week's episode. And just be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to turn on notifications. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. And we will get going here. So let me just pull up the comments. So just give me one quick second. Boom. There are your comments and questions. Fernando, what's going on, brother? He said, Buenos dias, WrestleRant. If Jade's title reign was not so terrible, I would say yes, the fans might turn on Rhea, but I think most fans would appreciate Rhea ending Jade's title reign at WrestleMania. Interesting take. Although I don't know if it's a hot take, actually. I feel like most people would probably agree with that. Fernando said, do you think it's wise to have two titles changing hands with Mania approaching? What two titles? Are we talking the Intercontinental Championships? Penta winning the men's Intercontinental title and AJ Lee winning the women's Intercontinental Championship on Saturday? No, I think it's fine. WWE has so many fucking championships that I think they can afford to change some championships before and after Mania. Not all titles have to change hands at Mania. It's only 2 out of 12 or whatever. So, I'm glad that Penta won the IC Championship from Dom. Is there a chance Dom could still get the belt back? That would be incredibly fucking dumb. But there's a chance. I don't even know what Penta's match is at WrestleMania, to be perfectly honest with you. But that being said, I'm just glad Penta got his moment. I thought it was a very fun match. It was absolutely the right outcome. And Dom and Finn at WrestleMania, bottom line, does not need a championship on the line. As for AJ beating Becky, I thought they would save that for Mania, but honestly, I'm fine with them doing it before Mania if the idea is for AJ to lose it right back to Becky or someone else at Mania. If AJ's not going to be full-time, and so far she hasn't been, that was the original report. Oh, she's full-time. Well, that was fucking 6 months ago, and she's wrestled all of 2 or 3 matches since then, and none on TV until probably pretty soon. But beyond that, she really has not been full-time. She'll come and go as she pleases, and as whenever they need her. So I think it was fine that she won the championship, gave her moment in Chicago, provided she's not champion for a long period of time and then goes weeks without, defending the championship or appearing or whatever. Fernando said, are you surprised Danhausen got booed? And did you also hear that he already has backstage heat? The dude just got there. I wouldn't say he has backstage heat. I think there were people backstage, understandably, who don't really understand the appeal and didn't really push to have him there. He's a CM Punk guy. CM Punk absolutely pushed to have Danhausen in the company. Okay, so it's not really a heat thing. I think there's just people backstage that are like, I don't get it. This is kind of a waste of a signing. Why are we building this up the way that we are? The box thing was already a fucking joke. There was really no reason to get more excited about it than how WWE was presenting it on their television show. They built it up for 2 weeks in backstage segments with jobbers. I mean, come on. Anyone expecting the fucking Rock out there is ridiculous. Jericho was a possibility as much as Danhausen was. Jericho could have easily been free from his contract that Friday and been, returning to WWE that Saturday, as Danhausen did, having left AEW on Friday, debuting for WWE on Saturday. But that just didn't work. Aside from Jericho, no one else really made sense. Bianca Belair coming back would have been amazing. There's been no indication, though, that she is actually cleared to compete. I had my tinfoil hat on thinking maybe it's all a work and it's all a ruse and she'll be back. Maybe a chamber. Obviously, that didn't happen. But the booing thing, it was dumb. I mean, if people don't like it, that's completely fine. The booing thing, I think, could have been attributed to a couple things. I think, honestly, moreover than anything, it was attributed to the fact that it was Danhausen in the box and people expected more. He got a pop when he came out. When he was initially revealed, he got a pop. And then after he did his little song and dance, he got booed. And I honestly can't 100% blame the fans. I did think it was like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, what's the point of booing? But they were probably like, all right, what the fuck was that? And is that really what all the hype was about? And then my counter argument would be, what hype? I mean, it was a backstage, it was a fucking box. Now, that being said, I would have just debuted the guy and not built him up in a fucking box. And people who don't know who he is probably are thinking, what is this dumb shit? But I thought they redeemed themselves with that entertaining backstage segment between him and Adam Pearce on Monday's Raw. So I would not have done the reveal the way they did. The booing thing did surprise me, but I think he can rebound quite well. So we'll see how he pans out in WWE. I think he's a good fit there. I enjoy Danhausen. I'm biased because I like the guy. I've interviewed him. He's a really good dude, and we'll see how he does. I just didn't really think they hit the nail on the head as far as the way they introduced him. He also said, was Penta the right decision to dethrone Dom? Yes, Penta has gotten so many title shots and has lost every single one. He had to win it eventually, and I'm glad it was last night. Top 5 Intercontinental Championship matches from Raw or SmackDown? Good question. I mean, any of Gunther's matches come to mind from the last few years. He had some great matches on Raw with Tommaso Ciampa a few years ago. I think he worked with Sheamus on SmackDown. That was the rematch from Clash of the Castle in 2022. They had a rematch on SmackDown that was not as good, but it's still a great match. I mean, there's other ones too. When Regal won the Intercontinental Championship the second time, that was when I was like just starting watching wrestling. It wasn't really about the match. It was just the fact that Regal won the Intercontinental Championship in England. I thought that was great. I don't really know. I mean, I know Jericho and Rey Mysterio had some great IC Championship matches in the summer of 2009, including on SmackDown, so I would say maybe one of those. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of them just blend together, but those are a few that come to mind. Really, anything Gunther did during his run, I would put up there high up on the list as far as great Intercontinental Championship matches that we've gotten on Raw. Richie, what's going on, brother? Said, were fans let down that Bon Quivy was not the person in the box on Saturday? I think so. I think that's why people booed. They expected to boo. I think they thought Danhausen was Trevor. I think that's what it is. I think the people in Chicago thought that Danhausen was Trevor, and they're like, fuck this guy. Let's boo him as we do here on these streams, and that's why they booed. Anyone who's watching right now that has no idea what I'm talking about, I feel bad. I'm sorry, but you gotta keep up with the canon here on #AskGSM here on the streams, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Richie said, is it me, or did Roman Reigns seem a bit off his game last night during his promo battle with Punk? Also, did the father line seem a bit too over the top for Punk's character at the moment? I thought Reigns did fine. It wasn't as good as the promo from a few weeks ago, but I did think it was a good promo that he cut on Punk. As far as the father line, it was absolutely over the top. It was definitely not characteristic of Punk, of his current character at all. I don't know if that's an indicator that he's going heel or what. I'm intrigued. It made me go, oh shit. It was definitely uncomfortable, and that was the point. And that's fine. Honestly, I'm okay with them going over the line, provided that Roman knew it was coming, which I'm sure he did. I'm sure they discussed that beforehand. And now Punk made it fucking personal. And Roman's going to either go after Larry's fucking corpse or whatever it might be. I don't know. But, like, if they didn't go, I'm not saying they have to go super dark and deep and bring up dead people and stuff, but, you know, people would argue, oh, they're just fighting over a belt. But now they're really making it personal. So I'm not advocating that they continue to bring up all this tasteless stuff like Roman's dad or Larry the dog or whatever. If they're okay with it, then I'm fine with them going there. And I thought that was a good note to end on because it left me wondering, how is Roman going to react? And I think he's on Raw next week. How will Roman react and retaliate from that very personal line from Punk? Richie also said, thoughts on WWE being petty and blocking places within 50 miles of the venues they're holding for shows in. They're holding shows in from broadcasting PLEs. Are WWE and TKO further digging themselves into a deeper hole? Yes, they are. We talked a lot about this on WrestleRant Radio last week, myself and Mr. Marceau. So go back and check out the early portion of that podcast for my full thoughts on this. But in a nutshell, yeah, I think it's a dumb tactic. If the idea is, hey, we're not going to allow you to go to a watch party for a pay-per-view if you're in the area, so just come buy a ticket to our show instead when they're hundreds of dollars and not worth the price that you're paying for it, then I think that's a dumb mentality. Why the fuck would anyone want to go? I mean, if you're going to the watch party, it's because you're not going to the pay-per-view. You're not going to a watch party because, oh, tickets are sold out. No, you're going to a watch party because that's more up your alley. If you want to go to the show, you would go to the show, even if it was a fucking nosebleed seat. You're going to a watch party because it's more affordable and it's a better atmosphere sometimes, and you're not paying an arm and a leg for parking and food and being there for what could end up being a subpar show. I've gone to plenty of watch parties. I watched AEW pay-per-views in movie theaters, which is basically a watch party. I've watched WWE PLEs at Buffalo Wild Wings before. I know they do that sort of stuff at Dave & Buster's, I believe, for the WWE shows, you know, just in general, not in the host cities, but they did that for Vegas last year for WrestleMania. People that didn't want to go to WrestleMania itself that were in the area for other stuff, they watched it at their hotel. And now those people, they're just not going to fucking watch. If they're going to WrestleMania weekend for everything else but Mania, and they're going to watch WrestleMania at a watch party instead, now they're just not going to watch. They're not going to be like, you know what, I should probably go to the show. If they're still charging the prices that they are for those tickets is WWE, that's not fucking changing. So I think it's a very petty tactic for sure. I understand they're like, oh, tickets low must mean that we eliminate all watch parties. That's not going to have the effect that they think it will. If tickets start going up again, I don't know if it's because they're blocking watch parties necessarily, but it certainly will not help, at least in my opinion. Will Tyreek show up for today's stream? He usually does. I'm going to put money on if we go long enough, he probably will, and then promptly disappear without answering any questions that we give him. Johnny said, after that ending line, the Punk versus Reigns rematch of Backlash has to be a buried alive or casket match. Just you wait until he's digging up Larry's bones and talking shit about Punk's dead dog next week on Raw. Richie with those Veer Mahan emojis here in the chat. Love to see it. Johnny said, I would have a TLC match for the U.S. Championship in Mania. Carmelo, Ilya, Alistair, Gargano, Phoenix, Kit Wilson, and Priest. That sounds great. I mean, I think the bigger question with Mania right now, and I think Mr. Marceau and I will map out the Mania card on Thursday, because there's a lot of ideas being pitched for what this Mania card will look like. But people are pitching like the most, not like insane matches, but you have to remember, they're not doing 10 matches a night. They're doing like 6 to 7 matches, maybe 8. Maybe 8. Realistically, they will do between 6 and 7 matches, 6, 7, on either night. They're not doing a lot of these random-ass matches that people are suggesting. That match, I could see, I hope Carmelo Hayes is at WrestleMania. I don't think it's a one-on-one match. If it's one-on-one, it would be against Trick. I think Trick faces Sammy. Or they just do a multi-man match with Carmelo, Sammy, and Trick. I would love if Alistair was at WrestleMania. I would love if any of the guys that you mentioned were at WrestleMania. It would be weird if Damian Priest was not at WrestleMania. He does not need another singles match at Mania. He got one last year with Drew. We don't need that again. I like Priest, but there's no singles match at Mania for Priest that makes sense. So I would have to put him in the U.S. Championship picture as well. The match you mentioned sounds fucking awesome. I don't think Gargano would make the Mania card, though. I think they would probably put Sammy in there, or Trick, like I said, or the fucking Miz before they would put Gargano in there, but I would love to be wrong. Was I surprised that Randy Orton won the chamber match? I was. Funnily enough, I did not pick him to win last Thursday. I thought they would play it safe and have Cody win. I am so happy to have been wrong. The funny thing, though, is that at the beginning of the year when Mr. Marceau and I were doing our predictions for what we thought would happen this year, we predicted Orton and Rhea winning their respective chambers, and we were right. We got that right, which is incredible. So, not Triple H, but me and Mr. Marceau on Thursday are going to be shaking ass. So get ready for that on Thursday's WrestleRant Radio. Nathaniel, what's going on, brother? Let me backtrack a little bit here. A lot of comments piling in. I appreciate the support, brother. All of you guys, brothers, sisters. Let's see. Nathaniel said, I hope Roxanne beats AJ for the title. That would be great. I don't know if she will, but that'd be great. He also said, Graham, would you want Jessica Carr versus Becky at Mania? No, I don't think it's going to happen because, again, you guys got to be realistic here. Would I mind that? No. I mean, they have to pay off Jessica and Becky at some point. I think at the very least they should do it on Raw. Mania is one thing, but let me ask you this question. Do you genuinely think AJ Lee did not just win the championship to not be at fucking WrestleMania? AJ Lee, whatever she is doing as champion, will be at WrestleMania. I still think it's an AJ Lee Becky Lynch rematch, okay? I'm not even saying that's overly exciting, but it makes sense. It makes sense. So if you do what you're suggesting, and I'm not even saying that's a terrible idea, but you guys got to be realistic here. That means you're asking for an AJ Lee title defense, AJ Roxanne or whatever you're suggesting, AJ Roxanne, let's say, Liv Stephanie, Jade Rhea, Io's got to be on the card, Becky Jessica Carr. People want Julia on the card with Tiffany for the U.S. title. Like, there's a tag title match. They're not doing 7 women's matches. Would I complain if we got 7 women's matches? No, I feel like the women honestly are more of an attraction in WWE currently than the men are. There are way more interesting women's matches to be had than the men. That's just a fact. I'm sorry, it is. But they're not going to do 7 women's matches and then like fucking 15 men's matches or just as many men's matches. They're not. So you got to cut out some of that shit. And that's why I think to consolidate, they will do AJ and Becky too, one-on-one. But I would absolutely do Jessica Carr and Becky, though. I would definitely do that on Raw. To not do that match after all this time would be a massive mistake. And it's not even like it's going to be a great match. It could be, it might not be. I doubt it would be. She's a fucking ref. In WWE canon, she's a ref. In real life, she used to be a wrestler, a mediocre wrestler, but she used to be a wrestler. I don't know if they would play into that at all. But, like, they've been building this up for months, and it's a great, entertaining angle. It would be worth watching. I would fucking be excited to see that personally, just to see how it would play out. Johnny said, I would book Julia versus Io for the U.S. Championship at Mania. That would be great, but I don't see them doing that, one. Two, I think there's a better chance we would get Io and Asuka. Asuka's on the show and better booked than Julia is. We never got that Io-Asuka big match between the two one-on-one. They really cooled off that feud, but I would do Io and Asuka. Io and Julia would be great, but if I have a choice, I mean, listen, Asuka's been at Mania like 8 times. She doesn't need to be at Mania. But Io and Asuka is a bigger attraction and a bigger match and probably a better match. And Io and Julia would fucking cook if they gave them time. But she has not been booked like anyone of importance at all. That screams SmackDown before Mania, just based on purely how they have presented Julia so far. Fernando said, should Randy win the WWE title at Mania? In my opinion, no. If he did, cool. I mean, honestly, anyone but Cody. I would prefer to see if it's a 4-way at Mania, which I think they're kind of gearing towards that, which is, thank God, that the best possible scenario given what they've had at the moment. My order of preference would be 1, Jacob Fatu winning the championship. 2, Drew retaining. 3, Randy Orton winning it. And 4, Cody Rhodes getting the belt back. Cody getting the belt back anytime soon, at least at Mania, would be just fucking stupid, so I hope not. And that includes Friday night on SmackDown. I mean, if we get Cody and Randy at Mania, that's great. But you just take the belt off of Drew within 2 months. He's not defending at WrestleMania, and you just do Drew and Jacob straight up. At this point, that would be cool. But like, I don't know. That just doesn't really seem that you could have done Cody and Orton at Mania if you gave Drew the belt earlier than they did, like in September, and then got the belt back on Cody, and then done Cody and Drew at WrestleMania, or Cody and Randy at WrestleMania. But they didn't do that. Top 5 Randy Orton matches. I mean, any match with Christian. Those Christian matches are my favorite Randy Orton matches from 2011. Specifically the Over the Limit one, but the SummerSlam match is also excellent. The other matches are great. The one from SmackDown's great. So any of those. Other like great Orton matches. I'm trying to think. It's weird because he's had a lot of great matches, but like none really stand out as being like these all-time classics off the top of my head. Like the Cena Iron Man match I thought was great at Bragging Rights 09. The Cena match last year, Backlash, was really good. Him and Punk at Mania, him and Punk at Extreme Rules in 2011. I feel like Orton's honestly best in-ring work came in 2011. Like, he also kind of helped carry Mark Henry to some quality matches as well when they worked together on pay-per-view for the World Heavyweight Championship. There's other awesome Orton matches, but I don't know, man. It's weird. He doesn't have the same catalog of matches that, like, Cena does, even though he's probably a better worker than Cena ever was as well. Him and Edge, the greatest wrestling match ever, which it wasn't, but it was still a great match from Backlash 2020. In recent years, he's had some really good matches, but none that I would say are like, oh my God, what a fucking banger. Like, all the AJ Styles matches were really good. Not like great, but they were really good. The Gunther matches a few years ago were really good. Those were great matches. Were they top 5 of all time? I don't know. It's hard to say. Richie said, stream looks and sounds good. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Johnny said, Royce Key should win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the SmackDown after Mania. Well, they would hold it before Mania, but honestly, that's a great idea. Depending on who's not on Mania, I feel like he would make the most sense to win that Battle Royal. Now, does that trophy mean anything? No. Who even won last year? Was it Hayes? I think it was Hayes. Yeah, Hayes won last year. I mean, he definitely did not benefit in the interim. He really did not start cooking on his own until like recently, but I would give the trophy to Royce Keys. Why not? Fernando said, have you seen Scream 7 yet? It scored its highest box office weekend despite the lame boycott by Melissa Barrera fans. I don't know if I would call it a lame boycott. I feel like the reason why people were upset about the movie and them firing her over the whole fucking... it's not a politics issue, the whole Israel thing and whatever. I kind of feel like that was lame, honestly, the reason why they let her go. Unless there was more to the story that we're not aware of. I just go off of what I hear from credible sources and what I read. So I don't know if I would call it lame. That being said, I did hear about Scream 7 doing well. I have not seen it. I heard it was awful from many people. I am still planning on seeing it tonight for $5 Tuesday. You guys routinely ask me, what are you seeing for $5 Tuesday? I have not gone to $5 Tuesday in a few weeks. We saw Strangers Chapter 3 earlier last month, and it fucking sucked, but I knew that. I saw Scream 5 and 6. I saw the first one. I did not. I watched part of 4, have not seen 2 or 3. I'm not like the biggest Scream fan, but I like the last one in New York. I'm going to see this one anyway. It's $5 if we go today and it doesn't, the snow doesn't fuck up our plans, but I did hear it did well financially though, which means that we're probably getting Scream 8. Woohoo. And I say that sarcastically. Johnny said, Penta can face either Pete Dunne or Tyler Bate at Mania for the IC title. Absolutely fucking not. I like 2 of those guys, or both of those guys, but do not get Penta involved in the Grande shit again, please. Please, no. The Grande shit, by the way, we talk about, like I just mentioned, all the women's matches at Mania. Give me more women's matches and less of the Grande shit. All due respect to Chad Gable, who's great. He got a Mania match last year, one-on-one with Rey Fenix, which was a really good match. We don't need the Grande shit at WrestleMania this year. Sorry, Kaiser. Kaiser is great. All due respect. he does not need to be on the fucking show. These women's matches that we're pitching here should be on the show before fucking Grande versus Grande. I'm happy for Penta. I wonder if they're still doing him or Dom versus Finn. They definitely are. I mean, he was the reason why he lost the championship. Finn stopped JD from helping Dom cheat. So they are absolutely doing Finn and Dom, and I feel like there's a very big chance that Finn will be the demon, and that's exciting. Johnny said, yes, yes, yes. More new champions change things up. I agree. Noob, what's going on, brother? He said, hey, Grim, how you doing today? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Noob. Hope you're doing well as well. Nathaniel said, do you think Bayley or Lyra should win on Raw next Monday? I would be fine with that. I don't think they beat AJ for the title. I think there's a better chance Bayley and Lyra rather, end up in the tag title match at Mania and probably walk out of WrestleMania as tag team champions. But they could win next week and face AJ on Raw, and then Becky gets involved. But if they're not, I don't know. I probably would not do that. Raquel, honest, but the issue with Raquel is that she wins these number one contenders matches, and she gets the big spots, but she never really wins. So to give her the shot and then she loses again, I don't know if I like that. Ivy Nile is not really an interesting opponent for AJ at all, but she would work as far as she gets the shot and she's an easy opponent for AJ to beat. So I would be okay with that, even though it's not really interesting, but it's not like whoever wins this gauntlet is probably going to beat AJ for the belt. I would be surprised if they did. Who should turn babyface first, Finn Balor or Dirty Dom? That's what you wrote. You wrote Finn Balor. I initially said Dirty Dom many months ago, but Finn Balor has so much momentum at the moment that I would go Finn Balor. Especially if he's going to be the demon at WrestleMania, I would go Finn Balor. Dirty Dom is also organically over. But Finn Balor hasn't been a full-fledged babyface in almost 4 years. Same thing with Dirty Dom. But Balor is just, they found something. I thought the matches with Punk were great. It's been nice to see him in a renewed role. Now, will he win a world championship? No. Does he need to win the Intercontinental Championship? No, he doesn't. And I'm glad he did not. And I'm glad he probably won't. I think that match sells itself on its own. Johnny said, I would book a Las Vegas finale street fight brawl between the MFTs and the Wyatts. Listen, I like all the guys involved in that feud. I don't mind either faction, to be perfectly honest with you. That is not a Mania match. I know they've been feuding since God knows when. So for WWE, it might be a Mania match, but it's just so fucking boring at this point. It's fine, but it's not great television. Like, they finally got the lantern back on Friday, and then they lost it again. It's like, the fuck are we doing? This is so unimaginative. You know what I mean? So it would get the Wyatt 6 at Mania, but if that was always going to be the plan, they really should have waited longer to start the storyline and not in November. I mean, they were teasing the Wyatts and the MFTs even before that, but the feud didn't really start until like November, and now it's at a point where it's like, why are we still doing this? Nathaniel said, I don't know if I want to keep seeing Becky losing and winning back the IC Championship. How about you? I agree. I completely agree. That was kind of one of my issues with AJ winning the belt at Chamber, was that Becky losing it and then winning it. It's just like, okay, what's the end game here? She should really move on to the women's world title picture at some point. That is also an issue that I have with it. I agree. Grunt, what's going on, my man? He said, no singles gold for Balor anytime soon. Evidently not. He lost to Punk at Chamber, and he's not challenging Dom for the IC Championship unless Dom gets the belt back. And honestly, I'm fine with that. Balor does not need to be a singles champion. I would love to see him get a redemption run as world champion. As Intercontinental champion, give the belt to Penta. Balor's been around for a fucking decade. Give Penta the championship instead. And they did, and I'm glad they did that. Emmanuel said, what's going on, Emmanuel? He's got a question from later on that he sent in. I'll get to it later. But he said, I did not go to Elimination Chamber in Chicago, but Danhausen seemed like he got a modest pop. I honestly think they would have avoided the boos if he just talked. I agree. I think the execution of the debut was not great. I fucking loved it because I love Danhausen. But because he didn't talk and nothing really happened, and the general consensus was probably that's it, like, oh, that was underwhelming, then I can see kind of why they booed. Daniel Malcolm, what's going on, my man? Grunt said, fun fact, it was a Trevor who got me into wrestling rep. Really? Rip Trevor. Not our Trevor. We don't like our Trevor, but if it was a Trevor that got you into wrestling, that is very cool. Richie, or that was Grunt. I thought that came from Richie. Richie said, "You're." Gianni said, "My top 5 three-ways at Mania. TLC 2 Triangle Ladder match from Mania 2000. Reigns Edge Bryan from WrestleMania 37, that would have been. And Gunther, Sheamus, Drew, Orton, Batista, Bryan." How do you not have the Mania 23-way on there? I know Benoit, we know where he is right now, but still, that match, I would put that on there before Reigns, Edge, and Bryan. That's a great match. How do you not put that on there, though? Daniel said, Punk's father line reminded me when Paige brought up Reed to Charlotte all those years ago. Cringe, and then a little cringe now. Yeah. I guess. So, yeah, I don't know if I would say that's the same thing. I feel like the Reed line was cringy. That was distasteful. I also don't think they would have done that back then if Charlotte wasn't okay with it. I still think it was distasteful. And we talked about that back then 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago now. Holy shit. I think they did that back then to get heat on Paige because that feud, I mean, on its own was fine, but they really wanted to give Paige heat. And the segment otherwise sucked. I remember when she said that line. The whole segment was terrible. They just did that to garner a reaction. I guess you say anything like that to garner a reaction, but it's not like people were quiet for what Punk and Reigns were saying prior to that point. They were already into the exchange. They did that to make Punk look like an asshole. So with whatever Roman does next, he's justified in whatever he does next. I also think there's a small chance Punk could go heel at WrestleMania. And that also would have been worth it for that alone. But we just don't know. We don't know where they're going with it. If Roman fires back with a personal shot of his own, if he wants to bring up Larry the Dead Dog and all this other shit, perfectly fine by me. Anything's on the table at this point. Nothing's off limits. Noob said, is it just me or is this story with the Kabuki Warriors losing its edge? Has it lost its edge for the last couple of months because Asuka's yelling? Kairi's name is becoming a repeating gag. It really has not developed in a long time. It got stale a while ago. I mean, they dragged this shit out for so long. I know they want to drag it out till Mania. They could have found more interesting ways of doing it, but whatever. Johnny said, my top 5 ladder matches at WrestleMania. Triangle ladder match, WrestleMania 2000. WrestleMania 23, Money in the Bank. Interesting. WrestleMania 21, Money in the Bank. Razor versus HBK. IC Championship at WrestleMania 31. Yeah, I think that's fair. Other great ladder matches. I know we've had a lot of them in recent years. I would not put any of the ladder matches from like Mania 33 on there or 40. Did 39 have one? I don't remember. Did 38 have one? I don't remember. They were doing one at WrestleMania for like fucking 5 straight years for like the Intercontinental title or the U.S. Championship or the fucking tag titles or whatever. I think the ones that you mentioned are great. I would consider those. I love the WrestleMania 24 Money in the Bank ladder match personally. So I would also, I might replace that one with 23, but they're both great. Alexis is here. What's going on? Daniel said, Graham, I have a seat saved for you on the Kiana bandwagon whenever you're ready, brother. You can give that seat to someone else. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon, but I will say she was impressive at Elimination Chamber. I still don't give a flying fuck about Kiana James. I think the bag is Bush League. She bores me to tears. But in the Chamber, I thought she did well. So I will give her credit. Don't think I'll be jumping on the bandwagon anytime soon, if ever, but I appreciate the invite, Daniel. Fernando said, what are your thoughts on the trash that were bullying Harley Cameron so bad she shut down her Twitter account? That's just wrestling fans being fucking dumb. Yeah, it is. It's exactly what you said. It's trash. I honestly, I don't even remember what it was about. What were they even like harassing her over? I don't even remember. Gianni said, Ari and Mark Shapiro's favorite theme song is Ted DiBiase's theme. Indeed, they're all about the money. Daniel said, does Alexa showing up count as a Tyreek appearance? It should, because she might be Tyreek. We've established that before. That is true. Grunt said earlier, Is there a match that you irrationally hate? Like, that's a good question. Like a match that everyone else is indifferent on, but you can't stand for whatever reason. For me, it's Jericho versus JBL from the 2008 Rumble. That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for you. I'm sure there is, like a match that I thought was just fucking awful. And I'm not just saying this because you're asking this, Grunt. This isn't a fair answer. I feel like it might be something from AEW. I honestly can't even think. The only reason why I say an AEW match is because I could see people saying, oh, this was just so incredible. It was amazing. Spots galore, blah, blah, blah. And I enjoy shit like that. So I'm not even saying, like, just because it's a spot fest, I hate it. You know what, actually? You know what? It is an AEW answer I have for you. And Grunt, I think you already know the answer, but probably any of the Anarchy in the Arena matches. People love those matches, or they're either indifferent on them or they love them. I fucking hate the Anarchy in the Arena matches. The one that we got last week on Dynamite was fine. The shit they do at Double or Nothing, though, I'm just not a fan. I just think it's a lot of garbage. I've never been a fan of those matches, so... And I get why people like them, though. I get why people like them. Some of them are better than others. I've never been a fan of those, ever, dating back to the first one. I enjoyed Stadium Stampede more than I did Anarchy in the Arena, so I guess that would probably be the answer. Aside from Anarchy in the Arena, I'm not really sure. I don't know what other, like, recent or any WWE matches I would think of that I thought were just awful, that people did not like. I don't remember. I'm not sure. Let's see. Fernando said, what podcast are Roman and Punk keep referring to during their promos? The Colt Cabana podcast. So it wasn't during the first one. I think Colton Punk did that infamous podcast back in late 2014. They did a follow-up podcast the next week where you might have heard of it or heard about it, where Punk brought up how at TLC 2013 that people were coming up to him backstage before the match. He was supposed to face the Shield. He faced the Shield in a 3-on-1 handicap match. And he was going to win, but everyone was emphasizing to him, you got to make Roman look strong. You got to make Roman look strong. You got to make Roman look strong. And he got so fucking pissed off at it. And it didn't really do Roman any favors. I mean, his story was there was nothing wrong with his story. It was actually pretty fucking funny. But it kind of sent the message that, hey, they're really shoving Roman down our throats, or they're about to. And there were other instances at the time that made people think, hey, maybe Roman, this push is not organic after all, or he's not ready or whatever. That's what they're referring to. They're not going to mention Colt Cabana, but they mentioned it last time and they mentioned it this time. That's what they're referring to, which is, I think, is a great deep cut personally. Whether people are aware of what they're talking about or not, probably not, but I think it's funny. And it's true. Nathaniel said, do you want Seth versus Brock at Mania? Absolutely fucking not. Someone brought that to my attention last night on Twitter, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even really think of that, and I fucking hope that's not the case. That might even be worse than doing him and Logan again, honestly. I mean, Logan and Theory are definitely challenging for the tag titles at Mania, but like Rollins and Brock, been there, done that, bro. Like 4 times. I have, including at WrestleMania. Twice, if you include Mania 31, so yeah, I'm good on that shit. I know they don't really have much of a choice because everyone else is hurt, like Breaker's hurt and Reed is hurt, I get it. But man, I just have zero interest in that at all. Shaking ass is over, indeed it is, Daniel. I put up the clip, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the whole shaking ass thing, Mr. Marceau and I went on a rant about Brock's booking and LA Knight's booking and Triple H constantly shaking ass. I put that clip up on the channel on Sunday, so you can go back and check that out if you missed it. Johnny said, I forgot that the commercials are going to have a 2-hour runtime on both nights of Mania. That's another thing, too. You guys think, like, not you guys specifically, but, like, people think they can do 10 matches a night. Obviously, they could if they wanted to. But the way the WWE works now, with all the fucking commercials and the aura farming with the entrances and all this other nonsense, they will spend 2 hours on 2 matches for, like, the main event alone. They're not doing, like, 9 matches per card. They're not, unless you want these matches to go 3 minutes, they're not doing that. So, in no world are we getting 10 matches on each show where, like, the Grande shit will probably be at Mania, unfortunately. That's awful. I have zero interest in that whatsoever. But, yeah, man, I don't know. People got to be realistic. The commercials will take up a lot of time. Fernando said, Sammy is starting to get on my nerves. His character is becoming very annoying. I mean, he's very mopey all the time. I don't mind it. I'm not saying I love it, but like I get where they're going with it. So, yeah, I can understand that. Johnny said, I will cover my eyes when you and RJ do that. No, you gotta keep your eyes open. We'll be shaking ass on Thursday, guys. Be ready. When did Jessica Carr wrestle? I didn't know that you meant, Nathaniel. She wrestled on the Indies. Wasn't very good from the clips that I've seen. There's actually a lot of funny clips of her having matches that were fucking awful. But she probably was in her. She's probably in her best role as a referee. If I had to wager a guess. But yeah, you can find the videos on YouTube. Fernando said, did LA Knight just make things worse for himself with his botching in the chamber match? It certainly did not help his case. Let's put it that way. I don't know if his goose is cooked after that, but it did not help. His elimination was awful. Whether he botched or not, but the botch did not help. It only made it worse. Emmanuel said, I remember when everyone was comparing last year's Mania to 2000 because of the amount of multi-man matches being teased. But I think only 3 of the 14 total matches ended up being multi-ways. Is that true? I think you might be right. Like the 2 triple threats and then the 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship. Were those the only multi-man matches we had? You might be right. Like Damian and Drew was singles. Cody and Roman was singles. Or Cody and Cena, rather, was singles. Orton's Open Challenge was a singles match. Jade and Naomi was singles. Charlotte and Tiffany was singles. We had tag title matches, but those were regular. They weren't multi-team matches. But yeah, we had like 2 triple threats and a 4-way, which was, even then, that seems a little much. But you're right. Yeah, we didn't have as many multi-way matches or whatever you want to call it as people, I think, assume that we did. I think we may have had more at like Mania 40 than we did at Mania last year. Fernando said, doesn't a fatal 4-way match at Mania devalue winning the Rumble and Elimination Chamber? It does, but it's the only option. They have booked themselves into a corner with this WWE title picture to the point where it's the only option. Does it make any fucking sense for Cody to lose the chamber and then get a title shot on Friday? No, it doesn't. It makes 0 sense. But they kind of have to do it to explain why it's going to be a 4-way at Mania. Because otherwise you're getting Drew and Roman at Mania or Drew and Randy. The fuck is that about? That sounds terrible. Drew and Randy at Mania sounds terrible. I'm sorry. Cody and Drew is even worse. It's got to be a 4-way. It does devalue the matches that you're talking about. But Roman won the Rumble and he's challenging Punk, so it is what it is. Orton winning the chamber and then it not being a singles match is pretty fucking lazy, but I'll take it over the alternative. Did you like Edge versus Orton match at Mania? No, I did not. The match at Mania 36 I thought was pretty boring, if that's the one you're talking about. Like, it was like a 46-minute last man standing match. It just did not work. Fernando said, your favorite Orton World Championship match at Mania? Probably WrestleMania 30. The Triple Threat at 24 is a good match. I enjoy that match. It's not my favorite. 22 with Angle and Ray is good. That's a good match. I think it's a very good Triple Threat. It's not my favorite. 25 with Triple H might be my least favorite. Actually, it's not. The match with Bray Wyatt is my least favorite. That match was terrible from WrestleMania 33. That just absolutely sucked. So what else? 25 was not good. 27, he wasn't in a world title match, nor was he at 27, 20, 29. So yeah, probably Mania 30. Gotta be Mania 30. Johnny said, Bayley versus Charlotte versus Sasha versus Nia Jax is the best 4-way in Mania history. I am going to wager actually, it's not. No fucking, I don't know if you're joking here or not, Johnny, but I mean, I was going to say, I don't even know of any other 4-ways, but I'm sure that's not the best 4-way. And I actually just remembered the 4-way from last year with Braun Breaker, Penta, Balor, and Dom for the IC Championship was significantly better than the match that you just mentioned. I was there for that match. The match was fine. The 4-way last year was actually a great match. That is, I don't even know if that's the best 4-way in Mania, but it's definitely better than the match that you mentioned. Johnny said Orton has Orton's best one-on-one match is his hardcore match with Cactus Jack. Oh yeah, I mean, that's probably Orton's best match maybe ever, is that Backlash 04 match. You're probably right on that. Johnny said, Lola Vice and Jada Parker might challenge you and RJ. Who would you guys rather see shake ass? Me and RJ or Lola and Jada? Come on, be honest. Give me your answer. I know the answer is me and RJ, but you don't have to be humble. Grunt said Orton versus Cactus Jack, Backlash 04, Orton Edge Vengeance 04, and Orton Benoit 04. Well, I know you're a big 04 fan, Grunt, so I'm not surprised that you think all of his best matches were in 04. But to be fair, all three of those matches are great. The Cactus Jack one being the best, but the other two matches are also very good in their own right. Fernando said, should Danhausen go to NXT, SmackDown, or Raw? I completely agree with Grunt. He actually just said, I don't think Danhausen needs to be exclusive to a specific brand. He could just pop up wherever. Also, the other thing is, does the brand split even matter at this point? They don't honor it anyway. Rhea's challenging for a SmackDown title. Does anyone honestly give a shit? You know what I mean? I think Grunt's right, though. I totally agree with that. Just show up wherever he wants. If anything, I would put him on Raw, but I would really have him pop up wherever it makes sense. Fernando said, should Lash and Nia go on a very long tag title reign? I mean, long tag title reign? I don't know about long, but they should hold it for a little bit. But then again, if they lose it at Mania to Bayley and Lyra, I wouldn't complain. So it doesn't really have to be like a 8-month run. How would I book Trick Williams for Mania? If he's not in a multi-man match, there's honestly really three options. One, a multi-man match for the U.S. Championship. I think that would be my least favorable option. Two, he challenges Hayes one-on-one for the belt at Mania. Or three, most likely, he faces Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. I think I would do that. I also saw today they were considering a double turn for Sami and Trick. I think that's not a good idea. Now, I know why people are saying heel Sami. I don't even really necessarily disagree with that. But turning Trick now, he's just such a great fucking asshole currently. Trick is awesome. The lemon pepper steppers, that shit's over, man. I mean, I know, you can just turn him babyface, and it's he's not going to ruin that popularity. But, I think he's a better heel. Honestly, I saw his work as a babyface in NXT. He's a great babyface. He's a better heel. So I would keep him heel. I would not do that. But I think I would have him face Sami at WrestleMania. Fernando said, I think Trick Williams has what The Rock had when he was in the Nation of Domination. Yeah, he does. I think he's honestly already better off. I mean, Trick is already competing in main events. Rock wasn't doing that shit that early on in his career. Rock was not at the upper tier level. I mean, granted, it's on SmackDown, and back then there was only one roster, but Trick is already in the upper tier matches on SmackDown. I mean, Rocky was in the mid card for a year and a half before he finally broke out into the upper tier main event mix. Richie said, Ben who? Yeah, exactly. Alexis said, I also think Trick has a charm about him. Yeah, Trick is amazing. He's a great babyface. The thing is, he's not even the best worker. He's really not. In NXT, he had some really good matches, but they were kind of carried by Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, among other people. He's not the best worker, but he can go in there and be really, really, he's a great talker, first of all. His personality is off the charts, and he's extremely fucking likable. And that's really all that matters, and I feel that's what makes him a star more than anything. Do I think the Jade and Rhea Twitter back and forth is a real or work for Mania? I think it's a work. But I said this on Twitter yesterday. I don't even care. It's fucking entertaining, and that's all I want. I was skeptical, and am still skeptical that they're doing Jade and Rhea at Mania, because there's just nothing about that match. It's okay, it's an attraction. Rhea's a massive star. Jade's a star too. But there's nothing really about it that makes me go, oh man, I can't wait for this. Because there's no personal issue. They have zero history. But it's not like Jade and Bianca, which to me sells itself. That's I see it. Jade and Charlotte, I see it. Rhea and Jade, I don't really see it. They need to sell me on that match. Talk that shit. Give me that fucking petty nonsense on Twitter. Incorporate that on the show. And I've seen a few people say, well, didn't that work? That worked so well for Charlotte and Tiffany. Guess what? It did. If they didn't do that that made for such messy television. That was tea being spilled. That was tea being spilled, girl go off type shit. I found that fucking entertaining. I don't give a shit. Did the segment suck? Sure. I would rather have a segment that sucks for being so bad that it's good than being just fucking boring. And I feel like we could get a lot, like we got on the road to Mania 39, Rhea and Charlotte at Mania that year had an amazing match. Maybe the best women's match in Mania history. We talked about that last year here on the show. I could not tell you a single promo they cut that was remotely memorable or good. It was just lazy shit. Give me some real animosity. That's what wrestling is all about. I want real wrestling here. People that fucking hate each other. Not to the point where they're being unprofessional. Maybe a little bit of that, a little bit. But, you know, Tiffany went over the line with some of the shit she said about Charlotte last year, but it was still entertaining. I don't give a shit. It definitely made me more interested in that match than I was otherwise. Fernando said, wow, so we're just going to bring up dead family members for Roman versus Punk. Crazy. Hey, why the fuck not, right? I mean, if that's what they want to do, who cares? Whatever. Johnny said, Roman should cut a promo from Mindy's Bakery in a Target. That would be... Cut a promo from Mindy? Well, I mean, they missed their chance. They were already in Chicago. If there was ever a chance to do that, that would have been then. Daniel said, never heard of it. I don't know what is he talking about the podcast? I don't know. Daniel said, folks not knowing what podcast Punk and Roman are referring to is amazing to me. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't blame them. It was so long ago. Let's see. Richie said, that is an iconic rant from Punk, and him roasting Ryback is something I quote to this day. I mean, honestly, he was pretty fucking mean towards Ryback, but it was funny, though. I mean, that was so unnecessary towards Punk, but now that Ryback's like off his rocker, it is kind of funny, even more in retrospect. Daniel said, that podcast indirectly leading to the end of Punk Cabana's friendship is also hilarious. I mean, that is the biggest... That whole podcast is like a domino effect. The shit that it caused is pretty crazy. Fernando said, I was just scrolling on my YouTube out of boredom and ran into... Oh, let me backtrack. And ran into some old streams from 14 years ago. You look so young and different. You hatless and were joined by your buddy, John. Yeah, that was a long time ago. 14 years ago? Holy shit. I'm curious what streams you're talking about specifically. That was when I was... If you're talking 14 years ago, that would have been 2012. I mean, they weren't streams. I wasn't doing streams in 2012. I was doing... Hashtag AskGSM. I wasn't even doing hashtag AskGSM at that point. We are 640 episodes in. Actually, I forgot to change the fucking thing today. It says 639. Hold on. Yeah, this is 640. Why did I not change the thing? Hold on, guys. Layout with tramp. Oh! Bam! See how I did that? Bam! It's 640 now. Bam! Anyway, yeah, that's... You were watching some old shit. There is such... a catalog of videos that probably fascinate me more than anyone that I've done here on this channel. Not that like, oh, I love my own shit. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, I have done so much fucking content over the last almost 20 years I've had this channel. I started this channel in 2009. I mean, the early videos are just really nothing. But that were like old Titantrons and shit. I started reviewing stuff here on the channel in like 2011. That's when like the WrestleRant name started, was me reviewing content and stuff like that. That was 15 years ago. 15 years ago this year, I did my very first WrestleRant video, me reviewing Raw from August of 2011. And the videos, like that was so long ago to where I had to keep the videos under 15 minutes because I had a time limit. And now obviously that's not the case anymore, thank God. But yeah, that was a crazy time. And it's interesting to look back to see what my opinions were at the time, how bad I was at what I was doing. But I was fucking, when I first started doing these videos, I was a junior in high school. That's how long I've been doing this for. It's pretty insane. But yeah, I mean, even on hashtag AskGSM, we've had a lot of guests on this very show dating back to 2013 on video and over audio. A lot of those people I don't even talk to anymore. So it is pretty crazy to think how long I've been doing this. Johnny said, over 30 minutes of commercials between Punk versus Finn and the main event. You talking about from Chamber? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Eric said, ask Grant how he feels about Sonic and Knuckles getting split up. Well, Grant's a sports guy, remember Eric. Grant is the sports enthusiast. He's not a Sonic enthusiast. That would be a question for me. I've seen all the Sonic movies. Grant has not. I don't know what you're talking about. I know that they're doing Sonic 4. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know why. I mean, the movies made money. All the movies are good. I think all the movies are good. The last one felt like it felt like the end. But they want to make more. Okay, whatever. I'll probably go see it. Because the other movies were good at least. So, if it's interesting, then whatever. But anyway, I didn't know that Sonic and Knuckles were splitting up in the next movie. I mean, or did that happen in 3? I don't remember. But I remember really liking 3 when I saw it over a year ago. Give me back shots, Marceau. Said, do you know what led to Teddy Long going from nameless referee to an on-screen manager, then GM? No, I don't. I know they hired him. Wasn't he like homeless or something? And they just gave him a job out of like, just to be nice. I might be wrong about that. I thought he was like homeless before he became a referee. And then an on-screen manager, I think because they thought he'd be good at it. And then the GM thing was kind of random because, no, he was the GM for a while there from 04 through 07. And then again for a while after that too, so. If you're like asking me to like, if you're saying like, I want you to explain that, I don't remember exactly. I think it's just because he naturally just got better. I mean, he had a great presence about him. He was a good talker. He's likable. It's Teddy Long. Everyone loves Teddy Long. Give me back shots. Marceau also said, is it time for the Bukkake Warriors to split? Maybe not necessarily split, but they got to develop the story. They got to fucking get to this next chapter. It's gotten old. I mean, the Kyrie thing is still funny sometimes, but they got to move it forward. Fernando said, how pissed would you be if Jericho ends up staying in AEW and all the months of speculation of when Jericho will arrive in WWE was a waste of time? I would be fucking pissed. Not because we wasted time speculating he's coming to WWE. I would not be mad as a WWE fan. WWE does not need Chris Jericho. I would be mad as an AEW fan, thinking, no thanks, we do not need fucking Jericho in AEW. I ask you, Fernando, I ask anyone who is an AEW fan, and maybe they exist. It's fine if you do. It's fine. You can come out from underneath your bunker. Do you actually want Chris Jericho in AEW still? Like, his work the last couple of years, character-wise mostly, has been so fucking bad and channel-changing. I can't imagine why anyone would want him to stay. Would you not just want him to go to WWE just so you're rid of him in AEW? Like, he's been gone from the product for about a year now, and AEW television is 1,000% better off because of it. And I love Jericho. He's one of my favorites of all time. But in AEW, he was stale. I don't know if they gave him too much creative freedom or what, but whatever they had him doing was so fucking bad. He has to get out of there. So it would be bad, in my opinion, it would suck if he left. Not because we're wasting time speculating about his WWE debut, just because I feel like the product would be worse off with Jericho still there. Johnny said, you're right, I forgot about that. Most of the four-ways at Mania are garbage or all right. I mean, the Mania 2000 Mania main event being one of them. That four-way I remember. I mean, you mentioned like four-ways, good or bad four-ways. I mean, that was one that came to mind. There's a lot of tag team four-ways. I couldn't tell you one that was like amazing, but, Mania 35 had like the Usos, and I think it was Cesaro and Nakamura, or Rusev and Nakamura. The Bar, I think, was another team. I don't remember. I don't really remember that match all that well, but Mania 2000 at Triple H, Foley, Rock, Big Show was not a good match. Daniel said, RJ and Graham shaking ass. Got to backtrack. Like the Bella Twins entrance is a hilarious thought. You don't have to wait much longer to see it. We might be doing it on Thursday, so that's your hook for Thursday's WrestleRant Radio. Me and Mr. Marceau shaking ass like Triple H. Johnny said, Lola Vice and Jada Parker. Come on, you want to see us shaking ass. Johnny said, Trick Williams should have a wrestling match inside of Buffalo Wild Wings. Why is that? Because the Lemon Peppa Steppas? Is that why? How hype are you for the Usos versus Vision for the tag title belts? How hyped am I? Probably a 2 out of 10. It's fine. It's a fine match. Am I hyped for it? I can't lie to you. I'm not. I like the Usos as a tag team. I think they're a great team. Theory and Logan Paul? Okay, whatever. Richie said, if someone would have told me that Trick would be more over and get more opportunities, such as being TNA champion over Carmelo, I would have laughed right in your face. Happy for Trick, though. I agree. Carmelo really felt like the guy they would build around as the next star. But then again, even before Carmelo got called up, you can kind of tell Trick is going to be the guy the WWE will push. He's got the look. He's got the size. He's not a bad wrestler. He could talk better. I think Carmelo's a good talker. But I would have said the same thing. And Trick's been great. They're both, I mean, Carmelo lately, I'm not pitting them against each other. They're both great. Carmelo's doing well right now. Trick's doing well. I can't complain. Should Oba squash Brock or win in a 15-minute match? If Brock actually gave a fuck, then a 15-minute match, even that sounds a little long. If Brock gave a shit, then a 15-minute match might be fun. Brock has not really given a fuck in so long now. I kind of fear what a 15-minute match with Brock Lesnar in 2026 would look like. So, yeah, Oba just squashing Brock is probably the way to go. Would or will they do that? Probably not, but I think they should. What is the most cringe build for a match you've ever heard? Dude, I couldn't even tell you. There's so many bad, cringy builds to Mania matches. Just matches in general. I couldn't even name one because there's just so many. Richie said, nah, it's fuck Ryback all day. That dude is a horrible person and constantly has L takes. Does he still, though? I know he did for a long time, and I think a lot of it was engagement, rage baiting and shit. I mean, he's an idiot. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, is he still offering L takes? He doesn't even pop up in my feed anymore. I think I muted him. He's just annoying. Richie said, can't wait till we get to 670. 6-7, indeed. Oh, episode 670, yeah. In another 30 weeks. Richie said, we need the GSM network for $9.99 a month. Hey, it's probably a better deal than $30 for some of these pay-per-views. You know what pisses me off I saw the other day? SmackDown is leaving Peacock next. Why? I know NXT is leaving Peacock. I get that. Why is SmackDown leaving Peacock? They still air SmackDown on USA Network. USA Network is owned by NBC. Why the fuck is SmackDown leaving Peacock? What the fuck, man? It's just like... The company does not give a shit. They do not care where they house their content. They don't care. And they're not going to do anything about it. But for me personally, it's annoying. Fuck them for that shit. Daniel said he's talking about the Lions trading one of their running backs. Oh, okay. Grunt said, are win streaks ever worth it? Did they ever end well? Goldberg, Asuka, Ryback, they all peaked during their respective streaks and never got back there once they suffered their first loss. Are win streaks ever worth it? Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all about the follow-up. It's not that the win streak, Gunther was undefeated for fucking years, man. I mean, Gunther's a great example because he was undefeated for years, and it's not like they botched him after the fact. The Undertaker's win streak was well worth it. It's one of the most iconic streaks in all of wrestling. The three people that you mentioned, Ryback, they booked awful after he lost his first loss. Asuka went on to be extremely successful. The way she lost her first match to Charlotte, at least it was at WrestleMania, her tapping was not ideal. The Goldberg streak is also iconic. So the follow-up sucked, and his first loss sucked. But the streak itself, people still talk about. So, yeah, I would say they're worth it, depending on who we're doing it with. But, yeah, I would say they're worth it. Okay, the Sonic Knuckles thing was the Lions thing. Okay, they're called Sonic and Knuckles. Okay, I also saw Sonic News about them making a fourth one, I think earlier today. So that's why I thought you were talking about. Fernando said, does Grant enjoy the Back to the Future movies as Graham does? He does not. His favorite movies are Field of Dreams, Remember the Titans, Friday Night Lights. That's a show. Is it a movie and a show? I don't know. You can ask Grant. He enjoys Major League. I'm a big Angels in the Outfield fan personally, but he likes all that stuff. He's not a big Back to the Future fan. He doesn't watch a lot of movies. He watches a lot of sports. Daniel said Teddy Long was homeless. I thought he was. I thought he was like, I don't know. I thought he was like begging for change outside of like the WCW arena and they gave him a job as a ref. I could be wrong. I don't remember. Grunt said even Undertaker went downhill after he lost his Mania streak to Lesnar. Yeah, but that's because Undertaker was fucking old. I mean, Undertaker was not, I mean, yeah, he did, but he wasn't booked poorly, though. It's not like Taker was already a made man. So, yes, the streak is absolutely worth it. Winning streaks are worth it. It just depends on how they're handled. Taker went downhill. Even if he beat Lesnar that night, that match was still awful. What's going on, brother? He said, what's up, Grandma Lamb? I think he said that earlier and I forgot to read it. But he also said, do you think Y2J is second-guessing his decision? What decision did he make? I mean, I still think he's coming to WWE. Did he re-sign to the AEW? I mean, I don't know. If that's what you think his decision is, then I don't think he would have second-guessed that. I don't know. What is he second-guessing? Code Black said, sup homie on God. Sup Code Black, what's going on? I still don't get the appeal of AEW, he says. Well, to each their own. I mean, that's fine. Some people don't get the appeal of WWE. Totally fine, but it's a nice alternative. If you're not digging what WWE is doing, AEW is, for the most part, so drastically different. You are bound to find something you enjoy in AEW that you don't find in WWE. Johnny said, Graham, tomorrow you will go one-on-one with The Undertaker, as Teddy Long would say. You said, did you see the clip of Randy laughing at LA Knight's botch? I have not seen that, but that's funny. I have not seen that. Richie said, I want Jericho to retire, but not under a promotion. I just want him to stay home. I mean, if Jericho never wrestled again, I would not complain. I mean, I'm sorry. I love Jericho, but the last couple of years have just not been good. They're just not great. I would like to see him get one last run and have it be done right and have him like actually put forth the effort into a good storyline, not this learning tree-esque garbage. I don't know. Code Black said, Y2J 99 to 05 was peak Jericho. I don't know. And I don't know if that's accurate. That is a great run for Jericho. I think some people might agree that peak Jericho was like in WCW in ring-wise. That might be peak Jericho, or Jericho in like Japan and Mexico. That might be peak Jericho. For me, peak Jericho is 08 Jericho. That's peak Jericho. And then like, it's not peak Jericho, but like when he was in New Japan doing the shit there in like 2018, that was great. And also his early AEW stuff was also great. I still said peak Jericho was like 08 because he was having amazing matches and great promos and storylines. He didn't have a lot of like incredible storylines during the period that you mentioned. Although Jericho during that period is awesome, but he was more entertaining, I guess. But like he really went out on a limb with that 08 run and it worked wonderfully. Grunt said Jericho that is, did make a comment recently about how fans need to shut up and be patient in regards to him finishing stories, which could be referencing his story with Big Bill and Brian Keith. Well, you know what? I know you're speculating, Grunt. We don't know what he's talking about. If he is, Jericho's a fucking idiot. I mean, we already know that based on who his wife voted for. But for Jericho specifically, he left the show a year ago, not a month ago, not 4 months ago, not even 6 months ago. Jericho's been gone for a fucking year. He did not put them over on his way out. He made them look like bitches. He said he was disappointed in them and left. And what happened? Did Tony Khan start pushing them when they were gone or when he was gone? No. They faded into obscurity. I like Brian Keith. I like Big Bill. I think both guys are great. They've done fuck all with them. But at the very least, before Jericho took time off or whatever the fuck, he could have been attacked by them. He should have been attacked by them 6 months earlier. You know how many times I'd hear from Tony Khan and Jericho, let it play out, let it play out, let it play out. It led nowhere. And if Jericho comes back tomorrow to work with them, that's even worse, man. That is so fucking bad. No one cares. No one gives a shit. No one cares. Just fucking leave. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's what he was referring to. He could have been referring to shut up as far as like wait and see where I go next. I get that. But if people are justifiably annoyed that the Big Bill, Brian Keith crap didn't go anywhere and they've basically ruined them in the meantime when Jericho's been... I mean, they weren't even that great to begin with. Then he's an idiot. Johnny said, I want to see Chris Jericho face Swerve in a Texas death match. If Swerve just destroys him, then sure. Otherwise, I have no interest. The Magic Plume My Air, what's going on? He said, who do you think is an overrated commentator, and who is underrated? I actually really liked, people didn't, but I liked the UFC guy they had a few years ago. I thought he was good. What's his name? Fucking, I don't remember now. Holy shit. I don't remember. The bald guy they had from like 2021 to 2022. I mean, he botched some stuff, but I really liked his like fight energy. Like it made it sound like a fight. The current commentators are good. Miz is a good commentator. I feel like he's underrated when he's not doing his character bullshit. When he's actually calling the match, he's entertaining. He's actually really good. Alex Riley was also underrated too. Alex Riley, early on especially, was underrated. Overrated? I don't know. I mean, Jerry Lawler was a great commentator for a long time. The last like 10 years of his run was just terrible, though. I mean, he just did not give a shit. He was not entertaining. He offered nothing of value. He was a complete waste of his spot on that booth. Who else? I mean, Jim Ross isn't overrated. Michael Cole's not really rated at all. I mean, people hate Michael Cole. They like Cole now. I think Cole's very good. I don't know if he's overrated. I wouldn't say he is. I don't know who's overrated, but I gave you a couple underrated people. Fernando said the Road Warriors put his hands on him during their match with the Skyscrapers, and Teddy Long got upset and helped the Skyscrapers cheat and win. The rest is history. Oh, interesting. That's how he became a manager. I did not know that. Grunt said, I disagree. Peak Jericho is 08 through 2010. Heel suit Jericho. Well, I mean, you disagree, but you agree. I mean, if you disagree with me, I said 08. You're just adding on another 2 years. But I agree. I enjoyed Jericho from 08. I feel like his best work during those 2 years was absolutely in 08. 09, I know you're a big proponent, Grunt, of the Rey Mysterio matches, and I am right there with you. Those matches were excellent. His heel work while feuding with like the Legends going into Mania that year was a lot of fun. That was good shit. The match itself was whatever, but the match with Steamboat at Backlash that year was great. The Jericho run was good. 2010, he didn't really do a whole lot in 2010. He left in 2010, but the Edge Mania match was okay. People called him Fat Jericho at that point. He kind of put on some weight. Yeah, the Edge feud never really got beyond a certain level for me. Neither did the Mania match, which is really good. I know Emmanuel mentioned that match earlier in the chat as a match he didn't like, but I liked the match. Not a great match, but I liked the match. He didn't really do much else. I mean, he was on Raw, and he was back on SmackDown after that. He didn't really do a whole lot. So I would say 08 to 09, really, is peak Jericho, in my opinion. Plume Air said, I joined the stream and Graham and RJ are shaking ass. Not today, but on Thursday we will be. So stay tuned. Fernando said, can Carmelo and catch Trick Williams? Literally catch him? What do you mean catch him? Catch up to Trick Williams? I don't know what you mean. Fernando said, if you were RJ, are you concerned about Io Sky's booking without Rhea on Raw? Yes, I am. I'm concerned. I'm not even RJ and I'm concerned. We'll talk more about it on Thursday. We were texting about it yesterday, as far as what you do with Io Sky. Richie said, at this point, I no longer need Peacock. I mean, does anyone at this point, really? I mean, I use Peacock to watch Psych, so I watch some of the shows on there. But wrestling-related wise, all the wrestling stuff is gone. I think the only thing that airs on Peacock now, I think the NXT PLEs are over there as well. Like, they're done there, I think. Maybe Vengeance Day this weekend, but that might be it. That's it. I mean, what else are they going to use? I know they do the Saturday Night Main Events on there, but at that point, just fucking watch that on VPN on Netflix. I mean, if you're just subscribed to Peacock for the wrestling stuff, just cancel. I mean, it's over. Unfortunately, it's over. In no place can you find all the other content, at least with easy accessibility, which is just terrible. Noob said NWO interference was legendary. Manuel, let's see. Fernando said, Goldberg must be out of his mind First, Asuka beats his undefeated streak. Then he sees AJ Styles giving his retirement speech in Atlanta with no interruptions. Yeah, Goldberg is probably seething right now. You're probably right. I didn't even think about that. Fernando said, as a sicko, I don't want Jericho back in AEW. Well, there you go. I know you don't speak for everyone, Fernando, but I feel like how you feel, I'm not even an AEW sicko. I think AEW is great. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself an AEW sicko. I don't want Jericho in AEW. I don't think the sickos do either. That's one thing I think we can all agree on. What is my favorite Chris Jericho match? That's a great question. My favorite Jericho match. I didn't watch the matches with Michaels live, so it's kind of hard to say those. The ones from '08, those were great. Him and Punk, I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite, but him and Punk from Extreme Rules 2012, Chicago Street Fight for the WWE title, I think that match is excellent. I really, really like that match. Him and Punk at Payback 2013, I like as well. I love the matches with him and AJ Styles. I really like those matches. I'm in the minority, I think, on that. The early matches were better than the Mania match, but I really like the Mania match too. I think the Mania match is great. That was their WrestleMania 32 match. I got to go back and watch that. So, yeah. That I don't know if it's my favorite Jericho match, but I like that match a lot. What else? Him and Shawn at Mania 19 is also excellent. I mean, if we're talking just in general, like him being in the Chamber match in 02 is one of my favorite matches ever. So that wouldn't be my favorite Jericho match, but he is in that match. Yeah, those are a few. He wasn't around in 2011. I'm just thinking from like the times I first started watching WWE. He had a last man standing match with Shawn on Raw to end their feud in November of 08, a match that really gets kind of overlooked. I really like that match too. Fernando said, when WWE is on a high, AEW is having issues, and the same the other way around. Has both companies ever been really good at the same time? That's a good question. You are right, though. It does feel like when AEW is struggling, WWE is doing better, and vice versa. I feel like that's the case right now. AEW's shows are definitely better on the whole than WWE's. I don't think that's much really of a question. Unless you love WWE or you love AEW. Like for people that watch both, and you're fair and balanced, I think you would agree, in my opinion anyway, which is in fact, that AEW is putting out the better content right now. There's times where WWE for last year I feel like last year it was even, where both products were kind of like inconsistent. 2024 WWE had better shows than AEW, and 2023 as well. Has there been a point where they were good at the same time? I don't know. That's good. Yeah, probably. But like really good? I don't know. Maybe 2024. I feel like WWE had a better 2024, but I feel like AEW's 2024 was not bad. I mean, 2024, they had the Sting retirement match. All In that year was excellent. WWE was still doing great stuff. So yeah, probably 2024, I would say, on the whole. I don't think that was their best year, was AEW, but I thought they had a decent enough year, like a good year, and their highs were high with like the Sting stuff and what else was going on that year? Swerve's rise and the Adam Page shit and whatever. A lot of that stuff was really, really good. Punk was gone, so I didn't really feel like there was a lot of drama there. Yeah, maybe 2024. That's a good question, though. Do you think Penta will have a long reign? Magic Plumaire asked. I don't know. I'm going to say no, but I hope so. Shawnee said, you just disrespected Jericho while you just made the list. I'm on the list. Jericho couldn't get Sammy Guevara or Daniel Garcia over. I agree and I disagree. He did not get Garcia over. He actually got Garcia less over. So Garcia did get over during the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he would have gotten over had he worked with Jericho and they broke Garcia off earlier. They didn't. If they broke Garcia off when people were really behind him, Jericho could have helped get him over. Sammy Guevara, he definitely helped get over. In the early days of the Inner Circle, he helped Guevara get over. And then it just went on for way too long, and they just at that point weren't really over as a team. But he did help get Sammy over initially. I will say that. In Jericho's defense. Emmanuel said, I never really fully read Jericho's second autobiography, but I know he said there that he was burned out by his 99 through 05 run because his undisputed world title run was underwhelming when it was also his peak. Correct. Yeah. I've read the book. The book is, all of his books I think are great. I really enjoyed Jericho's writing style and his books and whatnot. But yeah, he found the reign underwhelming, and he did, because it was. I mean, he was champion for only a few months. He beat Rock, he beat Stone Cold, but he was never the focus. I mean, it was always about the people that he was working with, and the matches were riddled with interference and all this other bullshit. Yeah. So I don't blame him for being, I mean, it was the same thing in 2017. Jericho felt like he was doing some of his best work with the less shit. And they were going to do him and Owens for the Universal Championship at Mania, which they absolutely should have. But they gave the belt to Brock and Goldberg instead. And that pissed him off so much, he was like, I'm going to go off and do my own thing. Had that not happened, who the fuck knows what could have happened? Jericho may have just never left WWE. Kind of interesting to think about. Fernando said, what does Rhea have to do to be in the discussion with Becky as the GOAT of women's wrestling? She's the best woman they have right now. I would say overall, package-wise. She will be considered like greatest of all time. She's got to be doing it for longer. Becky's been around now for over a decade. Becky has more work to base that conversation on. Rhea's been around now for a little while. I mean, she was in the Mae Young Classic. She did great work in NXT UK and NXT and now on Raw for the last 5 years. And she's had a lot of big matches and a lot of great wins and all this other shit. But Becky's still been around longer. So, and she's only 29. So Rhea's got to be around for a little bit longer, doing it for longer. And then I think you could put her in that conversation. Oh my God, Richie mentioned Anthony Ogogo. Don't remind me. What a waste of time that shit was in 2021. Who's the best women's commentator of all time? I don't want to stereotype and say, like, I can't think of one. Like, oh, women don't make great commentators. That's not true. I mean, at least on the major companies. AEW has never really had a full-time women's commentator. They just have never done that. WWE has, with Renee and Beth. Those are the only two names that come to mind. I know Veda Scott does commentary. From what I understand, she does a really good job. There's got to be other names. Beth. So the three names that come to mind, I think I already mentioned Beth, right? Renee and Beth Phoenix. Who else even really was there? Renee was not that good. Renee, I applauded her effort, and she was a nice change of pace on commentary, but she's always been better as like a host and as an interviewer. Beth, I did think got better on NXT. She turned into be a decent commentator, so I guess my answer would be Beth. But that's just because those are the only two I can think of on a major company scale. Who else has done commentary for like a regular gig on the major companies that I'm not thinking of? Because I'm drawing a blank. Fernando said Cole was terrible calling matches on Saturday. He kept saying Javon Williams. Did he say that? I know the ring announcer did, Mark Nash. Did Cole say Javon Williams too? Jesus Christ. Oh, Grunt said I was disagreeing with Code Black. Well, there you go. Can Carmelo Hayes catch Trick Williams in popularity, Fernando meant to say? He could. It's going to be tough. Trick just, in WWE, if you have the catchphrase, then you're good. And the theme song, and Carmelo has, he's him, and he's got a good song. Trick is just, he's that guy, man. He's like, he feels like The Rock in a few different ways. He's not The Rock, but the personality and the charm and whatnot, The Rock had that. Not that Hayes doesn't. Hayes is more of the Bret Hart or the Shawn Michaels of this generation, they're two of the greatest of all time. But The Rock was always like way more popular in the whole. So can he catch up? Yes, but I always think Trick will be the bigger star, literally and figuratively. Shawnee said Alexis will not allow you to do that on Thursday. Well, she'll have to watch too as we shake her ass on the show here on Thursday. You seem like you're biased by matches you have seen live or in person, Johnny said. For what are you talking about? Oh. Because he said Jay versus Jimmy has got to be your favorite brother versus brother match due to you seeing... okay, it's not. I mean, that match was terrible. I was there for that. What matches I mean, with Jericho, you asked me my favorite Jericho matches. I was not there for Jericho and Punk. Any of the 08, 09, 2010 matches, I was not there for. If it's a match I saw in person and liked, it's because I remember it. Any other matches, it's hard to remember, to be honest. So I don't even know what you're talking about. I am not biased towards matches I was there for in person. I love AJ and Cena from SummerSlam 2016. I was there for that, but I'm not biased towards it. That's a objectively amazing match. Grunt said 2024 is my personal favorite year of AEW. So, yeah, I think Grunt would probably agree that that was maybe the closest that the two companies have come to being as good at the same time. He also said, it was also my last year as a WWE fan. Tried getting back into it with the 2025 Rumble, but it did nothing for me. Interesting. I thought that Rumble was great, actually, so it's interesting that Rumble didn't really do much for you. Richie said, I may have already asked this once before, but how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck Palumbo? Good question. I don't know, but probably a lot. Johnny said, who uses tables better? The Dudley Boys or Sabu? Let's go Dudley Boys. I don't know. Do I like Moxley on commentary? He's fine. I mean, he's on there as a character. He's not on there as a commentator. Does that make sense? Like, he's not on there trying to beat Bryan Danielson. I think Bryan Danielson's really good. Beth and Renee were good, in my opinion, Fernando said. Yeah, I thought they're not awful, but Renee was not as good as she is at the interviewing thing. She was fine. Beth wasn't great to begin with, but she improved, and she ended up being pretty good. Johnny said, better use of a weapon, Triple H using the sledgehammer or Jeff Jarrett using the guitar? I'm going to go sledgehammer with Triple H. Both were kind of lame, but I feel like the guitar with Jeff Jarrett was, well, you know what? I'm going to switch it to Jeff Jarrett, because at least when Jarrett would hit the guitar, it would go right through their fucking head. It would always look great and make a great noise. Triple H with the sledgehammer was always about the visual. He would never fucking hit them with it, because if he did, he would kill them. So you could tell, oh, here comes the hand on the top of the sledgehammer. So I'm going to actually go Jarrett with the guitar. Fernando said Francine was pretty good on commentary in ECW. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I never heard her on commentary, so I can't really speak to that. Hold on. Let me pull back up the questions here. Or the comments. Fuck. I lost them. Okay, Richie said Carmelo is missing something on the mic. He doesn't have much conviction in what he says, and he still sounds unsure sometimes in his delivery of things. Trick's confidence is through the roof. I think that's an accurate depiction. I think that's accurate. Carmelo's improved on the mic on the main roster. Trick is just there already, and Trick arrived 2 months ago, man. I mean, that's crazy, you know? So, yeah, I would agree with that. Carmelo's promos are still really good. His promos as a heel are better, but he's still a good talker. Trick's just better. Daniel, you took the line right out of my fucking mouth. Rip Eddie Graham, but broke 1,000 guitars, never drew a dime. I read that Mr. Marceau have that as we have that as an inside joke, because we always just talk about the visual. It's on the Rise and Fall of WCW DVD. I think it was Eddie Graham who said that line, talking about Jeff Jarrett. And you see Jarrett taking the fucking mask off, like, oh my God, it's Jeff Jarrett. And then they throw that line in there, just completely burying the guy. That shit came out over 15 years ago, and it just never gets old. That shit is so funny. What is the worst Elimination Chamber match? To me, maybe the 2015 one for the Intercontinental Championship. People have talked about that being ass. It probably would be that one. That match was so bad, it was botched. The crowd didn't sound like they gave a fuck. It's not a good match. That might be the worst one. Shayna just killing everyone was more about the booking. The match itself was not all that exciting. Shayna murdering everyone was cool. Didn't really lead anywhere, which is why people kind of look back on it as being boring. That was the peak of Shayna's push in WWE on the main roster. The one from this past weekend I did not think was good. That was one of the worst chamber matches I think I've ever seen. The layout sucked. The crowd did not care. Nothing interesting at all. But yeah, I think actually Grunt is right. December to Dismember from 2006. I think a lot of people would agree that's the worst one. Richie said, is that the one where Ziggler had to tell everyone what to do? It probably is. I wouldn't be surprised. Fucking Ryback won it. Fucking Ryback won, so, I mean, you're probably right. He said, because, yes, that match was awful. Yeah, I mean, that match is... I was happy Ryback won, but the overall match was not good. So I would probably go December to Dismember, Chamber 2015. The Shayna one, honestly, that one was at least somewhat interesting. The finish to the one that we just got on Saturday, the finish was great. The rest of it sucked. So the one that we just got might be up there for top 5 worst ever. I also don't like the 03 Chamber match. The match itself was fine, but it's one of the worst to me because the finish was so bad. With Triple H just beating Goldberg straight up. That just sucked. So that, to me, those are like the top 5 worst Chamber matches ever. But December to Dismember takes the cake, no doubt. Like Grunt said. I forgot about that one. I try to etch it out of my mind. Fernando said, poor Jericho has always had bad luck at Mania. When he was undisputed champ at Mania, The Rock versus Hogan was the focal point. And when he faced Punk for the WWE title, Rock and Cena was the main event. Yeah, I mean, even with Edge won the Rumble in 2010. I mean, their match wasn't main event worthy. Shawn and Taker went on last, as it should have. But theoretically, you would think the Rumble winner would headline, and they didn't. Edge and Jericho went on like in the middle or closer to the end, but not even like, it wasn't even second to last. It was like before Cena and Batista. So, yeah, him and Owens went on second. That really was what led him to leaving the company. Fernando said, when Jericho versus KO was booked, Goldberg versus Brock changed plans. Yeah, they changed plans with that. Yeah, they did change a lot of plans, specifically with that match. But, yeah, I mean, he didn't get... That was a good match with him and Owens at Mania. But I think Vince hated the match, and Owens took a lot of the heat for it, which was weird. So, yeah, Jericho really has not had great luck at Mania. It is interesting. Although the Shawn match in 19 is excellent. At 2000, didn't he face Benoit and Angle in a triple threat? And then in 01, he faced Benoit straight up. They had a great match on that show, if I remember correctly. So at least he had those matches. He was in the first Money in the Bank ladder match. That was really good. So, yeah, he's had some really good Mania matches. The Christian match was also really good. Richie said, you could hear him calling spots more than Cena. Love that WWE Vault uploaded that recently. That's hilarious. That might be the match. I mean, I can't think of another chamber where that would have happened, so you're probably right. That's crazy. All right, so what we'll do now, guys, is go to these scheduled questions. If you want to keep sending in your chats, we will get back to them afterward. I don't know who the Ben guy is. Ben who? Benoit? Ben he? Ben I don't know. Ben something. But we'll go to the scheduled questions. Keep sending in your chats. I will look back on the comments or the chat after we're done. We have a lot of questions, so stay tuned and stay active in the chat. And we'll get back to the chat afterward, but bear with me here. Emmanuel said 01 was Mania 17. Jericho faced Regal in the opener. Okay, that's what it was. He beat Jericho, or he beat Regal for the IC Championship. Okay, I forgot about that. Benoit faced Angle on that show. That's what it was. Ben 10, yeah, exactly. All right, so let's pull up the questions here. I did make the text a little bit bigger this time, so you guys could read along with me. We will go back to the comments and the chat when we're done here. So send in your comments. In the meantime, I will read them all when we're done with the scheduled questions. Jordan B. from YouTube, what do you think Eric Young's legacy will be? I think Eric Young's legacy will be just as being a TNA original. I mean, Eric Young was never a main event guy. He's had some main event runs in TNA that I actually thought were decent. The 2014 run, I didn't really give a fuck about at all, but he did some great work as a heel in TNA in 2020 during their pandemic era. He's always been a mid-card guy. He's helped elevate people. He's always been a very memorable character, but he is synonymous with those three letters. He will not be remembered for any of his WWE work in NXT or on the main roster or whatever. He will largely only be remembered for the stuff he did in TNA. And just being a very loyal soldier. He did leave to go to WWE twice. Once for an NXT run, and then another time for a behind-the-scenes role or being in the Wyatt Six or whatever the fuck. But that's really it. Otherwise, he's always been loyal to TNA. And I can respect that. Nike Fan 01, hear me out. WrestleMania Night 1 Iron Survivor Challenge WWE Championship match. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu. Do you like this idea? Yes or no? I don't. I mean, it's bad enough. I don't like multi-man matches in the main event of Mania, just as a general rule. I will make an exception for this year because they really don't have much of another choice. Cody and Orton, they could have done. They still could, but it would just feel rushed. I also would not want Drew to win the belt and then lose it right before Mania. That would just be stupid. So, to add, I mean, why the fuck would LA Knight be in there? I mean, I like LA Knight. I want him to win a world title, but he has nothing to do with any of those guys, so that would make zero sense. So no. I also like the Iron Survivor Challenge concept, and at some point I hope they use it on the main roster, but that's not a main event. Like, you do not book, all right, put 25 minutes on the clock. Like, that's not a main event of Mania. I mean, they did an Iron Man match in the main event of Mania. It wasn't great. I mean, that was also over 30 years ago, too, about 30 years ago. So anyway, no, I don't love the idea. That sounds like a great match, but you don't do that in the main event of Mania, night one. Kadeem G from YouTube said, do you think that the Masked Man storyline feels forced and repetitive every single week? Yes. The amount of masked men that showed up last night, it was fucking egregious. I thought we were done with this shit. I knew exactly where it was going, but I thought we were done with the shit of the chamber. That shit last night, the overall angle was fine. Rollins attacking Heyman, okay, cool, that's cute. The masked men shit have got to end. It is so repetitive and so egregiously bad. Please stop doing it. Emmanuel A., shout out to the man himself, was here in the chat, or was a moment ago. He's got a few questions. He says, how important do you think a WrestleMania win-loss record is? I remember there was one time on Twitter that someone tagged Asuka for a rant about how she's never won at WrestleMania. And she responded that she hates how people obsess over that because that kind of talk reduces her career to what she hasn't done over what she has done. I don't really think Mania win-loss records are all that important. I couldn't even tell you what Shawn Michaels' WrestleMania record is, but I could tell you he had a lot of great fucking matches at WrestleMania. I mean, that's really all that matters. The only records at Mania that really stand out, I mean, Roman's won a lot, but like, people remember more of the moments in the matches than they do the records. I mean, Taker stands out because he was undefeated at Mania for over 20 years. But like, Asuka stands out a little bit because she's never had a WrestleMania win, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. She really should have just won, I don't know, in 2018. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Like, I think everyone should win at Mania at least once for the most part. If Shane fucking McMahon can win at WrestleMania 2 or 3 different times, then I think everyone should win at WrestleMania at least once. We know Vince McMahon did at least once or twice. But anyway, no, actually, Vince never won at Mania. No, actually, he did. I think he did. Right? I think Vince lost to Shane. He lost to Hogan. He lost to Shawn. And he lost to Bret Hart. But he beat Pat McAfee. He beat McAfee at Mania 38, if I'm not mistaken. So he actually has won WrestleMania, which is crazy. Anyway, I don't think the records are all that important. Someone should not lose at Mania 5 years in a row, I don't think, depending on who it is. But for the most part, it's not really something I think about all that often. His second question, how would you describe Triple H's WrestleMania legacy? A bit of an extension of the previous question. He's won less WrestleMania matches than he's lost, 10-13, but he's arguably had the most infamous wins at WrestleMania. He's also infamous for having some of the longest WrestleMania matches. I read that Triple H has had the longest match in the card, 11 out of 23 times, with an 8 out of 9 record for his last 9 Mania matches. Triple H's Mania legacy is a mixed bag because the triple threat for Mania 20 is tremendous and one of the best triple threats of all time in company history. But he's also had a lot of stinkers. The Orton match at 25 is a stinker. The Sheamus match was fine at 26. The Taker matches, all 3 Taker matches were excellent. All 3 of those matches are great. They're some of the best Mania matches he ever had. The Rollins match was kind of underwhelming. The tag team match at Mania 34 was excellent. Him and Stephanie versus Ronda and Kurt was awesome. Him and Jericho was okay. What other Mania matches has he had? He worked with Kane one year, right? In like fucking 98 or something, or 90, 99. What else? I mean, I'm trying to think of who else has he worked with at Mania. The 4-way at Mania 2000 wasn't great. 03 with Booker was a lame match. 05, the Batista match was a really good story. So yeah, it's a mixed bag of some really great stuff and some really fucking boring shit. You know, and that's Triple H's Mania legacy in a nutshell, I think. And also having some really long matches where it was not necessary. So I agree with that. He also said, speaking of Triple H at Mania, how did you generally feel about his entrances? According to a list of longest WrestleMania entrances, Triple H reportedly has had a total of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 53 seconds in entrance time. Second longest career total behind The Undertaker at 1 hour and 44 minutes and 58 seconds, and above Roman Reigns, 48 minutes and 24 seconds. Longest individual Triple H entrance is WrestleMania 32, 5 minutes and 53 seconds. Yeah, that's fucking long. But like with Taker, it didn't really bother me because the runtime for Mania for many, many years, up until like 32, wasn't really an issue for the most part. And a lot of his entrances were really cool. I thought the Terminator one at 31 was great. The 32 entrance, the match wasn't great, but the 32 entrance I thought was really good. His 30 entrance was one of his best. His Mania 22 entrance was really cool. Triple H just had a lot of great entrances. So I don't have an issue with them. But you throw in the long entrance and then the long match, and then it takes up a fucking hour basically of the show, and there's other matches that could be had in that timer that are getting shortchanged. That's not ideal. So definitely would not recommend that when the entrance may not necessarily always be worth it. Christopher L., what's going on, brother? From Facebook. He sent this in from Facebook, but I wrote YouTube there by accident. He said, what's up, Graham? Hope your day is going well. Had a fantastic weekend and are doing well. By the way, I saw Scream 7 and it sucked. Like I said earlier, I'll be seeing it tonight. So I'm sure it did. I heard it sucked, so I'm not surprised. But I will see it hopefully tonight and let you know. But he goes on to say, wasn't too big on Elimination Chamber Saturday as I felt they went too safe with some of the picks, one of which we will get to today. The Danhausen debut, obviously mean debut, went over like a wet fart. Punk and Balor had a quality match despite Punk being gassed at 10 minutes in. And Logan Paul getting the most eliminations in the match proves their absolute fetish with a known criminal and a living, breathing, walking lawsuit. Tell me how you really feel. However, the Seth reveal was fine, even though I felt Heyman went too over the top with his reaction. Overall, I felt this was one of the worst pay-per-views they have ever had in Chicago, as the crowd was also quiet for most of it. Why do you think the crowd was so quiet for most of the show? Could it be WWE's constant overuse of shows there feels too oversaturated? Or was the show not worth getting excited about? And on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rank it? I give it a 5.5. I'd probably go a 6 because I thought Punk Balor had a great match. I liked AJ and Becky. The crowd fucking sat on their hands for it. The Danhausen debut was flawed, but I liked the fact he was there. The women's chamber was really good, and the men's match I thought was not good at all. I thought that match was kind of trash. Before the finish, anyway. The crowd, you would never know it was a special crowd. You were absolutely right about that. You would never know that was a Chicago crowd. It did not feel like an exciting crowd. And two things. I think you're right on one thing, but failed to mention the other thing. One, you said there wasn't a whole lot to get excited about. You're right about that. That main event was not worth getting excited about. It felt like the crowd peaked with the Punk entrance, as you would expect, and that's really about it, which leads me to the second part of my point here. WWE, I wrote a whole article about this yesterday for Bleacher Report, so go back and check it out. Who exactly are they appealing to in 2026? I mean, to me, it feels like a casual audience. It felt like there were a lot of casual fans in the crowd on Saturday. Not the hardcore diehards that we would see in the crowds for the last 20, 30 years. It feels like they've kind of phased or priced those fans out, and they're catering and tailoring more to the casual fans who have the money to kind of throw away to go to these shows and sit on their fucking hands, sit on their phones during the matches, and then record the entrances. That feels like the WWE audience on the whole in a nutshell, where they just don't care. They don't care about the wrestling or even the promos. They care more about the moments, which is fine, but the entrances and the viral moments as opposed to shit that actually matters, like the matches and character development and stuff that should be getting more of a reaction. Was it one of the worst pay-per-views they've ever done in Chicago? It was certainly the most tame. Certainly the most tame. And the weakest show they've done in Chicago in a long time. I mean, the SmackDown they did in Chicago in September was better than that show. They did Survivor Series in Chicago back in 2023, an excellent show. They did a SmackDown in Chicago back in 2024. They did a Raw in Chicago and a SmackDown in Chicago in 2024. Both of those shows were excellent. Saturday's show, you would never know it was a Chicago crowd. It did not feel all that special really at all. But it wasn't a bad show. It was probably somewhere in the middle. I would go 6, but I feel like 5.5 might be fair. He says, say Doc Brown came to you randomly in the DeLorean and said you could go back in time for one event that you can change, and it had to be pro wrestling related. If you could go back in time, what would be that change in professional wrestling history? Well, could it be avoiding the Benoit massacre issue shit? I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but how I would do that, I don't know. I would put, knowing what was going to happen with Benoit that weekend, I would go back even further in time and ensure that didn't happen. But, like, at least make people aware of Benoit's mental status and make sure he didn't do what he did. I mean, either that or the Owen Hart thing. The Owen Hart thing was such a tragedy that people in the building should not have had to experience and witness that. The Benoit thing I go to just because more people died from that. But you could say Owen Hart, too. Those are probably the biggest 2 pro wrestling tragedies for the most part. So I would go with either one of those. I wouldn't go like, oh, I would change this finish. Like, that shit doesn't really matter. But those 2 things specifically, I would probably try to avoid if I had a DeLorean and went back in time like Doc Brown. You wrote Evolution here, but you mean Revolution. You said Revolution is coming up in 12 days, and the card looks good with some bangers in there. What matches are you most excited for? I mean, the whole card they haven't announced yet. I mean, I think when I looked at the card earlier, there's only 4 or 5 matches announced, but it is going to be a great show. I do think. I don't know who Tekla's going to face. The pay-per-view is fucking next weekend. I don't know. I mean, she's facing Thunder Rosa tomorrow. So I don't know who Tekla's facing, but they're doing the Bucks and FTR, which I think should be a great match per usual. Andrade and Bandito sounds phenomenal, man. I mean, I'm excited for that more than probably anything else. MJF and Paige for the stipulation alone is intriguing. Swerve and Brody King is not official yet, but that sounds really cool. That should be a great match. So, yeah. The match I'm most excited for is Bandito and Andrade. But really, the whole show sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited. AEW is putting together some good work right now. The shows aren't, like, incredible, but, like, Dynamite's good most weeks, and it's enjoyable. And I think they're setting up for a really good quality pay-per-view coming up next Saturday. He said, was Punk mentioning Roman's dead father too much of a low-hanging fruit low blow in their great promo exchange last night, or did it make the segment better? I don't know, but it made Punk look like a petty dick. What about you? It did make him look like an asshole. I'm not typically in favor of going to, like, the dead territory. It does feel like low-hanging fruit, even if they're okay with it, and I'm sure they pitched it, obviously. But to me, it makes it even more personal than it already was. It was already personal, but this brings another layer into it. And it's not like it was someone that got murdered or like it was his kid or something. Like that shit, like the Eddie thing was definitely more distasteful. When they constantly bring up Eddie being in hell. Like that was a fucking tragedy. Roman's dad passing away from old age, that doesn't really, I mean, I don't really think that's that big of a deal. Larry the dog also died of old age, I think. So if they bring up Larry after bringing up Roman's dead dad, hey, fair game. I think that's perfectly fine. So it made me go, oh, fuck. Like, Punk's a fucking dick for saying that. I need to see how Roman responds. So it got me excited. I guess I'm a freak, but it got me excited. So I actually didn't really mind it. His last question here, and this is the question for today's video, basically. He said, Rhea Ripley punched her ticket to WrestleMania after winning the Chamber on Saturday. In all honesty, I'm 50-50 on the decision. On one hand, I like the idea of Rhea becoming a SmackDown fixture after spending so much time on Raw, and if she wins, being able to face new opponents like Jordynne Grace, Kiana James, Julia, and Alba Fire. On the other hand, it's Rhea getting another title match at WrestleMania. Yes, she's the biggest star in the women's division, and yes, it's a fresh matchup, but I love how people would bash Vince McMahon for constantly slotting Charlotte Flair into title matches, yet give Stamford Paul a pass for always slotting her above someone else who could probably use that rub for a title match. I obviously love Rhea and prefer her over Charlotte, but I love pointing out the hypocrisy because the fans love one woman over the other. Was it too predictable Rhea winning the Chamber? Is this a case of WWE running back to the well and going for their tried and true instead of taking a risk and going with someone else? Does Triple H get a pass too? Get a pass too often for pushing Rhea so hard? And if she doesn't win, who would you have picked to win the Chamber? The crowd reception online to her winning. The crowd reception online to her winning was a polarizing one. So with some happy she won, with some were not. Could the fans eventually turn on her down the road? Okay, you asked like 5 questions there, so I'll attempt to address all of this. Here's the thing with Rhea, and I think it's different from... If Charlotte, I'll just start by saying this. You make a lot of great points. I'm not saying you're wrong by any means. I do disagree on some stuff. If Charlotte was in this spot, people would have complained. Maybe just as much. I would not have been one of those people. I was actually in favor of Jade facing Charlotte. Now, on paper, Charlotte getting another title match at Mania after already challenging for the title last year would have been like, oh, again? But honestly, here's the thing. What else do you do with Jade at WrestleMania? WWE, to their credit, this is not their fault. It's their fault for not building up more talent, obviously, on the SmackDown side of things. But they got fucked with the Bianca situation. She's still hurt. Bianca should have faced Jade at Mania, and she's not ready yet. So what do? There's no one really on the SmackDown side. You could have done her and Jordynne Grace. It feels too soon for that as a Mania match. I know they just did it on SmackDown. I'm saying if they dragged it out till Mania. That's not a Mania match. And in my opinion, you don't give Jordynne Grace a Mania match without having a spot for your biggest star, one of your biggest stars in the whole fucking company, in Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Hopefully they find a spot for Io. We'll talk about that on Thursday. Rhea's only in that spot because Bianca got hurt. If Bianca's healthy, Rhea's not going to SmackDown to challenge Jade. That's it. There's no one else on SmackDown that makes sense. She's already faced and beaten Tiffany a time or two, has Jade. Tiffany should not be in that spot. Rhea was the only option that made sense. And I also don't think the Chamber was that predictable. Rhea's odds of winning did increase significantly after she dropped the tag titles on Friday. But I honestly thought Alexa Bliss might win. And they would set up something where, or Charlotte would attack Bliss, and she wouldn't know that, which would be fucking lazy because we see so many attack angles with the Chamber. But then we would get Charlotte, Alexa, and Jade at Mania. Because they were teasing Jade and Charlotte at Mania, but now we're obviously not getting that because now Rhea Ripley's involved. I think Charlotte and Alexa being in the tag title picture is fine. Here's the difference. You said people really shit on Vince a lot for putting Charlotte in the title picture constantly, which is true. People were shitting on Paul. I mean, I don't know where you're looking, but people were absolutely fucking shitting on Triple H in his booking of Rhea for like the first 6 or 7 months of last year. Because she was always in the title picture. Rhea was... The Liv Morgan feud was dragged out forever. I mean, she was in the title picture consistently with Rhea Ripley. From when she won the belt in early 2023 through the middle of 2025. And she took time away from the title picture. So her going back to the title match at Mania this year is fine with me. Now, on paper, I said earlier, her and Jade is not a sexy match. It makes sense as 2 big stars. There's no story there. They need to cultivate a story that's interesting. I'm still skeptical on that. But it makes sense to give Rhea a big match at Mania. You don't really have many other options. There's Charlotte, okay, but then what do you do with Rhea? If Rhea and Io would have ended up in the tag title match at Mania, I'm sorry, there's a problem there. And if it's a decision of we either put Rhea and Io in the tag title match or Charlotte and Alexa, I'm sorry, but you put Charlotte and Alexa in the tag title match and then put Io and Rhea in other matches. Rhea and Io are just better, more interesting, and bigger stars at this point. It's just a fact. So you got to put Charlotte and Alexa in something else, probably the tag title match. Will the crowd turn on her eventually? Yes, if they shove her down people's throats, specifically as a babyface. We're not at that point yet. She really has not gotten overwhelming boos. I don't think ever. She's been a babyface now for about 2 years as Rhea. We're not there yet. Cody has gotten that reaction because Cody has been definitively in the WWE title picture now for about 2 years. Like, he has not really taken a break to do anything else. He lost the title last year, but he got right back into title contention for SummerSlam. That's really about it. Rhea took time away from the title picture. Charlotte took time away from the title picture. And I'm one of those people that would tell you if Charlotte won that match or was in the Chamber and won, I would have been fine with it. Now, on paper, it sounds strange. Like, why would you be okay with that? She's been in that Mania match for a title a million times. It's because we haven't seen her and Jade before. We haven't seen Rhea and Jade before either. It's something new. So if Rhea's in a title match every year and it feels forced when other women should be getting that spot, then I get it. But I am a genuine question. Who else would be in that spot if not Rhea Ripley? Io makes just as much sense as Rhea, but Rhea's a bigger star than Io, even though Io is a star now as well. Bianca's hurt. I mean, you're not going to put fucking Rhea Ripley in a tag title match, but then put Jordynne Grace up against Jade. That just doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. Raquel Rodriguez, no. I mean, I saw a lot of love for Raquel, and Raquel's improved, and I like Raquel. You're not fucking doing Jade and Raquel when Rhea's pulling tag team duty. Nuh-uh. That's not happening. That would be caca. That would be garbage. That would be, let's pull up the stupid pile. Hold on. You don't do Jade and Raquel. You put that in the garbage can while Rhea does tag team duty. Use your head. Tiffany, no. Alexa, Jade is fine. That's not a Mania match. Rhea was really your only option. They have a lot of great women right now. Becky's accounted for probably. AJ Lee's accounted for. Yeah, you have Bayley, but she's not facing Jade. Like, it had to be Rhea at this point. That was their only option. And it sucks because this is a case where injuries fuck them. But that's not a match we've seen before, so I'm okay with that. Will fans turn on her eventually? If she's champion and constantly goes for the belt on and off for the next 2 years, then yes. They probably would have turned on her by now if she didn't leave to go to the tag team division a few months ago. But they did, and I thought that was the best thing that she could have done. Justin K. from Facebook says, having been a fan of Austin Theory since the Evolve days, the new theme and the new look I can get behind, but he is still out being booked like a geek and not up to full potential. How would you make Theory better? First of all, I would probably have him fucking leave. I mean, I don't really think, at this point, his goose, he talked about goose being cooked, his goose feels like it's cooked. It's been in the oven for a long time now, and it is burnt. Like, he's got to either get fired or leave on his own. If he's not going to, if you're asking me, like, what I would do with him in this company, turn him babyface. The theme is awesome. I don't like the new look. He looks generic to me. The theme, though, is great. The entrance is great. I will say that. They should have turned him babyface a year or two ago. They didn't do it then either. It's ridiculous. I would at least attempt to try him out as a babyface, which he's never been on the main roster before, so why not? He said, Elimination Chamber 2026 was straight cheeks. Do you think that Elimination Chamber has lost its vibe as a pay-per-view mainstay, or do you think it's time to use it sparingly, like on a Survivor Series or a SummerSlam like in years past? I would use it sparingly, but they see it as a pay-per-view concept that works, so whatever. It's not a menacing concept. It does feel too predictable sometimes. I don't have an issue with Chamber being a pay-per-view, because at least you use the Chamber to determine number one contenders. I still have an issue with War Games as an event, because those matches should not be fucking happening at the same show every year. That has been very evident the last couple of years. Elimination Chamber doesn't bother me as much because you can use the chambers to determine number one contenders. But it's not a menacing chamber like it hasn't been in quite some time. Push mid-card release, he asks. Austin Theory, Johnny Gargano, JD McDonough. I mean, I know I just said fire Theory, but you're not going to push, fucking Gargano? Like, I don't know. I mean, Theory is the biggest star of those three. So you got to push Theory. I would mid-card Gargano, make him a U.S. IC champion, whatever, and release McDonough. McDonough's good, but McDonough, when the Judgment Day is done, I do fear for his spot in that company. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I doubt he would even show up. He wasn't even really on TV before they put him in the Judgment Day, so I do kind of fear for his spot when the Judgment Day stuff runs its course. Last two Facebook questions here. Thoughts on AJ Lee? This is from Noel on Facebook. Thoughts on AJ Lee having an IC title open challenge matches, and you see Roxanne Perez stealing Raquel Rodriguez's spot to add fuel to Judgment Day breaking up slowly. I don't see that, no. I mean, how would that even work? I mean, Raquel, it's a gauntlet match. And why would Roxanne steal her spot? Unless Raquel got hurt in storyline, which I don't see happening. So, and then if she did, she would be okay with Roxanne stepping up and giving her the spot. So, no, I don't see that happening. I'm not even sure if Roxanne's back next week. Because if she was, I feel like they would have advertised her for the gauntlet or advertised the mystery opponent or whatever. She hasn't been gone that long where it's going to be this massive shock when she comes back. I don't know if AJ Lee's going to have multiple open title open challenge title matches. It might be just one, but I like it better doing that than none at all. Because my question recently was, is AJ Lee going to even wrestle on Raw if she wins the belt? The answer is yes. I don't think she's waiting until Mania to wrestle again, which is great. She should be wrestling on Raw. Against who? I don't know. But I like the fact they're doing it. I like the gauntlet next week. It's not really an open challenge. I mean, they're having a gauntlet to determine the number one contender. And no, I don't see Roxy and Raquel teasing tension. The tension is entirely with Liv and Raquel right now, and Dom and Finn. Roxanne and JD just so kind of happen to be there. Do you see Oba Femi or Gunther accepting Brock Lesnar's WrestleMania challenge? Oba, I'm kind of worried will not. Gunther, I don't think will. I mean, I know they need to have a spot for Gunther at Mania, and it doesn't seem like it's set in stone yet, which is weird. I still do think they're going with Oba Femi. I genuinely do. I still think they're going to go in the Oba Femi direction and have him be the one to face and hopefully beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. All right, let me move my camera here real quick. Nope, wrong thing. Boop. Okay, bam. All right, we'll do that. Fuck, hold on. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Last couple of questions here from Twitter. At Iwagu91 from Twitter. Do you think that Will Ospreay will win the men's Owen Hart Cup and the AEW World title at All In? I didn't think he'd be back, but they're already airing video packages for his return, so I guess so. You know what? I guess, fuck it, why not? Yeah, we'll say yes. Because they're back in England for All In this year, I think, so I think there's a decent chance he will and that he might. Do you think that Konosuke Takeshita will be the third partner for Pro-Kata when they vie for the AEW World Tag Titles against Jet Set Radio? Is it Jet Set Radio or Jet Set Rodeo? Not radio. You wrote radio. Yeah. I mean, I think Takeshita would make sense. That's where you tease more tension with Takeshita and Okada. The problem is there already is tension, and they're dragging this out beyond belief, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I do think that he should be the third partner. If not him, who the fuck else would it be? Rocky Romero? That'd be stupid. So yeah, I would put Takeshita in there. If Hangman loses at Revolution, do you think that unlike Cody Rhodes, he'll eventually go back on his words? Yes, I do. I don't think he'll go back on his words. I feel like they'll find a way to, like, he'll win the Owen Hart Cup at some point, and that would lead to him getting back in the world title mix. So yes, I do feel that way. I do feel like he will eventually go back after the world title again. He will eventually go back after the world title again, unless he's on his way out of the company, and they're just doing this for the fuck of it. At millennial_noob from Twitter, with Rhea Ripley winning the Women's Chamber this past Saturday, where does that leave Io Sky? Some people want Io versus Julia for the Women's U.S. title at WrestleMania, or pick up where she left off with the Kabuki Warriors. I would go with Asuka versus Io. I would too. Julia's the fresher face. It'd be cool to get Julia on Mania. Asuka's been at Mania a million times. But they never properly resolved Io versus Asuka, and they've never done that match on a major stage. They did it once. They did it, I think, twice. Once at a house show that I was at 4 years ago in Springfield, Mass. And then they did it again on a SmackDown for the title where Io beat Asuka in the main event of SmackDown back in 2023. But never on a pay-per-view in WWE. So I would do Asuka versus Io. Julia, I don't see them giving Julia a Mania spot before Asuka, who's on TV more and booked better. So I still think there's a chance we might get Io versus Asuka, although there was nothing else last night on Raw to suggest they're going in that direction, unfortunately. Maybe we get some interaction between the two in the gauntlet next week on Raw. Next question, last question actually for the episode. So what are your thoughts on Danhausen being in the mystery box all this time? I was very underwhelmed with the reveal, but I don't know if Danhausen is going to bounce back after the reaction he got at Chamber. Well, you spoke too soon because he was on Raw last night, albeit in a backstage segment, and it sounded like he got a decent reaction. And not only did he get a decent reaction, his segment was funny, and people have responded to it well online. So that was 1 week, that was one show. And I thought that was the perfect use of Danhausen. I think he'll be just fine. The debut was not ideal, not a great start. I enjoyed it, but the fact that people got their hopes up, as dumb wrestling fans tend to, and it wasn't even supposed to be this big thing. It was a fucking box that was backstage with a bunch of jobbers. It's not like they were promising it would change the game or anything. Like, people need to get over themselves. But they were probably booing because they expected more, like as far as will he talk? Will Oba Femi come out and crush him? Like, the fuck's going on here, And then it just kind of abruptly ended in underwhelming fashion. I think he'll be fine. I love Danhausen. I think the guy's great. I will repost my interview that I did with him 5 years ago here on the channel very soon for you guys to check out. It was entirely in character, and it's one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. So I am very happy for the guy. We actually went back and forth setting up the interview over the phone. So I think I still have his phone number, and unless he changed numbers, I'm pretty sure I still have fucking Danhausen's phone number, which is pretty funny. But yeah, that's about it. That's about it. I think I'm excited to see what Danhausen does in WWE. He won't be winning many championships, I don't think, but as a comedy relief backstage, I think he works well. I like Danhausen a lot, and I think he'll excel in that environment if they utilize him properly. All right. So let's get back to the questions here as we head on out briefly, or in a little bit, rather. Let's pull back up the chat. Let's see. A lot of questions and comments here. Let's see. Did you enjoy the Scary Movie trailer? I actually didn't. I thought people would say it was garbage, and I'm in the minority. People thought it was really funny. I love Scary Movie 1. Scary Movie 2 was terrible. The third one I thought was great, and the fourth one's funny too. I didn't watch the fifth one. The new trailer, I just don't think that comedy works in 2026. I just don't. I just think it's going to be a swing and a miss. But I hope it's funny because if I hear enough good things about it, I will go see it. I'll have to watch the last one. I think that one's probably bad too. But I like the originals. I don't know if this new one's going to be any good. It just doesn't really look like it. It looked too forced and looked too dumb, you know? I don't know. So we'll see. Johnny said, do you watch the WCW YouTube videos? I don't. I am not subscribed to the WCW Vault. Johnny said, Ben Affleck. Johnny said, best Manias back-to-back, 30 and 31 or 39 and 40? Good question. I'm going to say 30 and 31. 39 and 40 are both great. I think 30 and 31 are better complete shows. 39 ended on a very underwhelming note. Parts of 40 were not great. I mean, there were parts of 30 and 31 that weren't great either, but 39 and 40 had better, like more matches because they were 2 days, but I'll still go 30 and 31. Rollins versus Breaker should be a masked men lumberjack match. God, that sounds like something straight out of fucking SmackDown versus Raw 2009. Johnny said mask on a pole match would be great. No thanks. Edge had a classic WrestleMania streak. I don't know if I'd call it classic, but he did win a lot of matches at Mania at one point. Johnny said, how would you rank Shawn Michaels, Edge, and Jeff Hardy when it comes to ladder matches? I'd probably go Shawn. Shawn's one. Ladder, not TLC. There's a difference. I'd probably go Shawn, Jeff, Edge in ladder matches. The commercials also hurt the fans. As far as the crowded chamber, yes, agreed. There's way too many fucking commercials and too much downtime that really hurts the vibe of the show. Benoit or Owen are the answers for me. As far as the history thing, yeah, that would make sense. Grunt. Johnny said Owen Hart. Fernando said, what grade do you give Swerve's heel turn versus Kenny Omega? A. Match was great. Angle was great. Swerve as a heel is great. It's an A. Eric said, I just saw I Can Only Imagine 2 amazing movie to me. I saw the first one actually many years ago when it came out with, I forgot his name. He's the brother of the guy that's from Christmas Vacation. But anyway, I did see the first one, and I'm not going to lie when I tell you I did tear up a little bit during one part of the movie. I will not see the second one, most likely, but I did enjoy the first one when I saw it many years ago. Grunt, I don't know why it took so long for them to make the sequel, though. Grunt said, still holding out hope that they add a stip to the Bucks versus FTR 5, preferably a steel cage, but I'll take whatever. I'd rather have a stip than adding the Rascals to it like some fans on Blue Sky are hoping for. Yeah, I would not add the Rascals to it. I think steel cage makes sense. They haven't done a steel cage match yet. The Rascals should get a shot against FTR separately. Or the Bucks or whoever. I would not add them to the match. Johnny said, I would have stopped Punk from doing that post-show press conference at All Out. There you go. That's an answer. It's not quite as serious as the shit that we mentioned, but it's an answer. Grunt said, but yeah, we need to find out what the women and guys like Okada and Fletcher are doing on the show. Hopefully we'll find that all out tomorrow. I think we will. For Revolution, I think we will. Johnny said, I I know Takeshita's facing Moxley. I forgot about that. That should be good too, because their Grand Slam Australia match was pretty good. Johnny said, I would have told Dixie not to bring in Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. Yeah, and back in 2010, that would have, I don't know if it would have saved TNA, but it would have caused their decline to go by a little bit slower. Jade versus Raquel, yeah, no, that doesn't really do much for me. I'm sorry. I would have had fixed ECW money issues in 2020, 2001. Again, I don't think that would have lasted. I think you would have fixed their money issues. Would ECW still be around today? Probably not. I think it would have died soon after anyway. That style was not going to last long term. I would have turned Cena heel after losing to the Rocket Mania. Yeah, booking-wise, I agree with that. That would have been cool. Now what do you do with Tiffany? Add her to the Julia Io for Mania. I guess, but it's not like Io is feuding with Julia. Asuka's not feuding with Julia. I guess they all had an interaction in the Rumble. If you want to do a triple threat with the other women, I mean, I suppose. I don't know, man. That doesn't really do much for me. That really doesn't. Oh, shit. Fucking lost the feed here. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Let me stretch this back out. Bam. All right, there you go. It seems like they're teasing something with, I would not do Julia, Io, and then there's no Asuka. I would just do Tiffany and Julia on the SmackDown before Mania. Tiffany and Julia, or Tiffany and Chelsea, which they're also teasing, that's not really a Mania match, and I don't think they're going to make room for it either. Cody did take a short break. Yeah, for a fucking month. After he lost the belt last year, he was gone for a literal month, and that was it. Not nearly long enough. Eric said, okay, so giving Raquel an opportunity at Mania is shit to you. It is. When you have Rhea Ripley, who is a better talker, a better wrestler, a bigger star, how the fuck do you give Raquel I mean, I've seen people pitch that. I just don't agree. I just think that's stupid. If you wanted to put Raquel with Liv and Stephanie, then fine. But putting her with Jade, first of all, that match doesn't sound good at all. And second of all, the builds sound like garbage. And third of all, I don't know, man. That just doesn't sound interesting whatsoever. For a Mania match, no thanks. Noob said, Asuka, we all know what happened the last time between her and Jade because that match at Queen of the Ring Finals was mid. Yeah, that was not a good match. Johnny said, the MFT and Wyatt feud can feud until Survivor Series and end in War Games. No. It started literally War Games weekend. So that would mean having the feud go for an entire year. God, no, that would be terrible. It's already bad how long they've been dragging it on for. Jet Set Rodeo. Yeah, not radio. Paul Heyman might have Lesnar attack LA Knight as retaliation. I fucking hope not. I have no desire. Alexis said, bro is still live. I'm impressed. Are you, though? I mean, we've been live before for 3 hours. I mean, doing a little over 2 hours really isn't that big of an accomplishment. We've been live for a lot longer before. Mamadou, what's going on? He says, hi, GSM. Do you think Seth or Becky have any say on each other's booking? On each other's booking? No, I don't. In their own booking? Yes. Each other's booking? I don't think so. I don't think they would go that far. After his comments last night, are they setting up a Punk heel turn for post-Mania? His Kumbaya, happy to be there, back energy is kind of played out. I think Punk's still great even with the Kumbaya shit that you're talking about. I already said this earlier, but I do feel like there's a decent chance that Punk could go heel at or after Mania. That could be the big angle that ends Mania, Punk going heel, whether he retains or loses. I don't know. I could totally see it, and I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Eric said, ask Grant for his thoughts on Kenneth Walker being underrated. I will be sure to let him know, Eric. Thank you. I will be sure to ask him. Mamadou said, to piggyback an earlier question, worst Manias back-to-back. Oof. Good question. Worst Manias back-to-back. I am tempted to say 14 and 15. Or 15 and 16. Those Attitude Era Manias, man, are not good. I really don't care what people say. Those Attitude Era Manias are not good. Hold on. Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm just double checking something. Because let's go through this quickly here. Manias 1 and 2. Mania 1 is not an amazing show, but it's historically significant. So you got to go. You can't say 1 and 2. 2's not a great Mania, but 3's a very good Mania. 4's not a great Mania, but 5's okay. 6 is great. 7's fine. 8's a good Mania. 9 is kind of garbage, but 8 is good and 10 is good. So you can say 9 and whatever. 11 is not good. 11 sucks. But 12 is a good show. Even 13, Mania 13 is not good either. I mean, honestly, I think 13 through 16 is a pretty fucking awful stretch of Manias. But Bret Hart and Austin, Bret Hart and Stone Cold. Yeah, okay, what else? What else in Mania 13 is remotely decent? Mania 14, Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. Okay, first of all, that match is decent at best. And second of all, the rest of that card is shit. WrestleMania 15. What about Rock and Austin? Okay, well, what about the rest of the card that's fucking trash? You know what I'm saying? Like, none of those, like, all of those Manias are garbage. So probably, I would either say 13, 14, 14, 15, or 15, 16. Mania 2000 had at least had some more decent stuff on it. It was overbooked to fuck with way too much multi-man shit. At least it had the triangle ladder match, you know? 17's a classic. 18's great. 18's good. 19's a very good show. 20 is a good show. 21 is great. 22 is decent. 23 is decent. 24 is good. 25 is disappointing. 26 is good, so I wouldn't say 25 and 26. 27 sucked, but 28 is good and 26 is good, so you can't say that. 29 wasn't good, but 30 is good, so you can't say 29. 31 is great. 32 is not good. 33 is not great, but 32 and 33 are not the worst Manias back-to-back. They both had better shit on it than the Attitude Era stuff. 34 is good, not great, it's fine. 35 is fine, it's not a bad or great show. 36 is the Thunderdome or the fucking Performance Center, but I would rather watch that than some of the Attitude Era Manias. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. 37 is a great show. 38 is great. 39, 39, 40, all great. 41 was a mixed bag. So yeah, I'm going to go 13, 14, 15, 16. Worst stretch of Manias by far. Nikki Blackheart Hive starting the campaign now. I know, Daniel, you and I have talked about this over text. I have seen her tweeted about. I have no fucking idea how she is as a wrestler. I have no idea who the hell she even really is. But if she's good, hey, she looks like a star, so more power to her. But Psycho, what's going on, brother? I think Christian does the deceased father gimmick better than Phil. I would agree. Oh, that would make sense why I saw someone tweet the picture of Christian and Roman today. That makes sense. Anyway, also, did he say Roman made the list? He did, yes. I picked up on that last night on Raw. He did say Roman made the list. My Jericho ears perked up in the moment. Do I like Sad Gargano? It's fine. I mean, hopefully it leads to him going back babyface soon. It's something for him to do. It's better than him not being on the show. You know how many people aren't even on the show or just not doing shit? At least he's on the show and it's a gimmick. I mean, it's not overly exciting, but it's something at least somewhat different. It's fine. What does Bret Hart look like if he sticks around during the Attitude Era? It would look more like Bret in 97, which was great. I think he would have done more of that shit. Eric said, I would have had someone who was a well-respected legend like Taker or Shawn to help Jeff after the first arrest for a DUI. That's a random question or a random comment. What, like talk to Jeff and be like, hey, get your shit together? I mean, I'm sure people have. I mean, Jeff's in a better place now, all things considered, I believe, but it doesn't matter. I mean, Shawn and Taker talking to Jeff, it's not as if he would have changed his ways. I mean, people have absolutely talked to Jeff. He was always going to do what he was going to do. That's just, he just had a problem. You did not like the Butler scene in Scary Movie 2, LOL. No, that was dumb as shit. I watched that movie for the first time a little over a year ago. It was not funny at all. The other Scream movies are better. Eric said, Trevor was the first person to die in Scream 7. I knew it. Grunt said, I'm assuming we'll get to Ciampa Fletcher 2 Revolution. I hope so. But watch Tony book it for the go-home Dynamite just to spite me. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. But as long as we get a rematch, because Ciampa needs to go back after that TNT title. Freak like Navich said, where do they go wrong with Motor City Machine Guns? Do they regret coming to the E? I don't think they regret it. But listen, here's the thing with Motor City Machine Guns. They won the tag titles quickly, which I had no issue with. And then they lost the tag titles. They were involved in the tag title mix after that through SummerSlam. It's not as if they disappeared off television. After SummerSlam is where they ran into issues. WWE has done fuck all with their tag team division since SummerSlam, specifically on SmackDown. Raw's not much better. They should be on TV more. I don't know why they're not. They're in random backstage segments, which is fine, but they should absolutely be doing more than they are. Do they regret it? I don't think they regret it. If they did not come to WWE now, and I get the sense it was always their dream to do something in WWE, if they didn't come to WWE now, they would have never gotten this chance again. They're on the older side. They're almost done. It was now or never. So, yeah, their current booking is not great, but if they went to AEW when they did, the booking of the tag team division at that point was garbage. The WWE tag team division booking was better at that point when they came to WWE. So, it is what it is. Maybe they'll have a chance to go to AEW during this or after this WWE run is over. Whether they get released or they leave when their contracts are up, whenever that is, I don't regret it at all because they've had success. They've had great matches in WWE. They've been around working with a lot of cool teams. They should be around now. I don't know why the fuck they're not around more, especially on a 3-hour show. But it was either now or never, and I'm glad we finally got to see the Guns in WWE. So those are my thoughts on that. Average Grunt said, yeah, seems like they got bored with MSG or Motor City Machine Guns after the TLC matches, and now they're stuck on the NXT AAA loop after losing dark matches to Hobbs. And again, they should be doing more. They should absolutely be doing more than that. At least they're working. I mean, I would like to see them on NXT TV. If they're not going to do shit on SmackDown, put them on NXT television. God knows they could use the tag team depth. Put the NXT tag titles on them. You know, the Guns are great. They can still go. When they're on the show, they have good matches. I genuinely don't think they'd be on the show that much more in AEW. I mean, they also have a shit ton of teams too. Private Party came back, and they haven't wrestled since, right? I mean, they had a video package this past week, which was fine. But they also have a lot of talent that they don't really know what to do with. So it's a problem in both companies. Freak said, what do you think 99-2000 looks like if Austin didn't need to have neck surgery? It would have been even better. I mean, 99 kind of sucked as it was. 2000 was one of WWE's best years ever. You throw Stone Cold into the mix, that year's even better than it was. I think, anyway. Congrats to Axe and Smash. Glad they got in while they're still around to see it aside from Crush. I agree. I don't know if Crush is getting inducted, though. I think it's just Axe and Smash, which I think it should be. But Demolition's great. Long overdue. I felt like they were going to induct him after they died, which I hate to say it, but it could be any time. I mean, they're older. You never know. So, yeah, I'm glad they're going in. I'm very happy to see that, and I'm looking forward to their speech. Have they nerfed Jacob? Crowd seems to not react the same. He's not as over as he was maybe even a year ago. They have cooled him off, but he still gets good reactions when he comes out. So I would not say they nerfed Jacob. He's involved in the fucking WWE title picture. He took time off for the injury, for the teeth thing, for the dental work or whatever, which didn't really help his momentum. The solo stuff, him losing his solo so many times also did not help. But Jacob is still very much over. He's just not the focal point because you also have Cody and you got Drew and Orton. You got a lot of people. So he's still over. He could be more over. And hopefully he wins the title at some point. I would love if he walked out of WrestleMania with the belt. Will he? Probably not. But I would love it if he did. Abu Sika, what's going on, brother? Great to see you. He said, do you think Solo could pull off a... Could Solo pull off a... Oh, I read... You sent in 2 comments. So I said, do you think Solo could pull off their way to cool off people that are hot? I was confused by that. You said, do you think Solo could pull off a Rikishi-style gimmick? Honestly, probably yeah, because Solo's fucking funny. So I'm going to say yes. I don't know if he should be slapping his ass and shit. We don't need Solo Sikoa shaking ass on WWE television. But nonetheless, I do think he could pull off a comedy gimmick because Solo's really funny. He also said, why do you think they go around their way? They go out of their way, I guess is what you mean, to cool people off that are hot. That's the WWE way. I mean, they like to stretch things out, go back to it later on. Depends on what we're talking about. Trick's hot, and they're capitalizing on it. So it's not like they're cooling that off. It depends on what we're talking about. Certain people they capitalize on, and some people they don't. Marios, what's going on? No idea what your question is. For real versus sport or surreal? Oh, for real VA sport. Okay. He's asking if VA sport is for real because they sent in the following. You said, my cousin works in catering at WWE headquarters, told me that Bianca has been healthy for a while. WWE has been keeping her off television to give you other black wrestlers more opportunity to get over. VA Sport, I'm not sure if that's a joke or not. That is definitely not true. Could Bianca be cleared? If Bianca was cleared, she would be facing Jade at Mania, not Rhea Ripley. And second of all, exactly like Mario said, why the fuck would someone in catering know that? They're not keeping Bianca off the show to give more black talent TV time or opportunities. That sounds ridiculous. So I don't know if you're serious or not, but that sounds stupid as shit. Do I see AJ Lee's open challenge matches being a success? Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, they're not. Are they all going to be open challenges? It's not even an open challenge. They're having a number one contenders match, so it's not an open challenge. But I think it's a good way to use AJ and get her on Raw and defend the title before she likely faces Becky again at WrestleMania. And stretch out the storyline so it's not constantly Becky and AJ feuding with promos for the next month and a half. Emmanuel said, potential hot take, but as someone who's seen a lot of 2000 WWE, the shows before Stone Cold's return that year were much better than the shows after his return. That's actually true, yeah. I'm just saying if Stone Cold was there, I feel like they would have had another player to work with. But are you saying that because they didn't rely on Stone Cold that they wouldn't have relied on like the Benoits and the Jerichos more? You're probably right. I don't know. We just don't know. So you are right though. I mean, the shows before Stone Cold came back when they were focusing on Triple H and Rock and Benoit, Jericho, those were some excellent shows. Grunt said the Ruthless Aggression era had the best streak of Manias, 19 through 24, and I will die on that hill. You are not wrong. That's a logical, sound take. I said it before when I was running through the Manias. 19, I mean, even 18. I mean, 18, I include that in Ruthless Aggression. I know Ruthless Aggression started in mid-02. I don't put 18 with Attitude Era. I just don't. So even if you include 18, 18's good, 19's better, 20's good, 21 is great, 22 is good, 23 is good, 24 I think is great, 25's not. But yeah, that's like fucking 6 or 7 Manias that are good to great. Noel said, so we all agree Roxanne Perez is probably going to take Raquel's open challenge spot against AJ Lee on Raw probably. No, we don't all agree, Noel. I don't know who the fuck said that. I know you asked the question earlier and I answered it, but no, we don't all agree. I don't think Roxanne's going to be in that match next week. If she was, I feel like they would have just advertised her or advertised a mystery opponent. And also, why would they tease tension between Roxanne and Raquel? They're teasing tension between Raquel and Liv, not Roxanne. Roxanne's kind of more so aligned with Raquel, it feels like. So, anyway, I don't see that happening. I don't see Roxanne being back next week. Maybe she helps Raquel win, but I don't see Roxanne taking Raquel's spot. What, is she going to fucking attack her or something? That wouldn't make sense. Mario said, do you think Randy beats Stevie Richards for the world title when he did at SummerSlam if Bork Laser never left? No, he doesn't. Randy does not win the title as quickly as he does at the age of 24 or whatever if Brock does not leave in 2004. The only reason Randy won it when he did, and Randy is great and was great even then, it's because they wanted to have him beat Brock's record by a year. It's the only reason why they did that. So no. Because he lost it a fucking month later. He was not champion again for another 3 years was Randy Orton. So no, I don't think that happens. Best back-to-back SummerSlams? That's a good question. You guys got to help me out with that one. I mean, the 80 SummerSlams, the 90 SummerSlams, none of them really stand out to me as being overly, like, amazing. So I'm not going to say any of those. 02 SummerSlam's amazing. Maybe 01 and 02. Maybe. 03, I don't remember being great. 04, I don't remember being great. 05 is fine. 06 is fine. 07, I like the 08 SummerSlam. 09 is okay. It would probably be a more recent SummerSlam. Not 2010. 2011 SummerSlam I thought was a great show. 2012 was not. 2012 was good. It was fine. 2013, you know what? Maybe 2013, 2014. 2014 SummerSlam was a great show. 2013 SummerSlam was an excellent show as well. So probably those two. 2015 I was there for. It was a fine show. Too fucking long. 2016 was too long. 2017 was not great. 2018 was not great. 2019 was very good. 2020 was COVID. 2021 mixed bag. 2022 was good. 2023 was a mixed bag. 2024 was great. And this year's SummerSlam, 2025 SummerSlam was, how was 2025 SummerSlam? Where the fuck even was that show? Why do I not remember being at that show? It must not have been that great. I don't remember. So yeah, I would probably say 2013 and 2014. Triple H took your advice. AJ Styles will go first and Stephanie will go last at the Hall of Fame. Oh, fuck no. That would be terrible. I hope not. Ruthless Aggression Taker from 04 to 08 was probably his best run for SmackDown, Noel said. Yeah, it was. I mean, 04 Taker, not really. But 05 Taker, yes. 06 Taker, kind of. 07, yes. 08, yes. I would even throw 09 in there. 09 Taker had the shit with Shawn. He was working with Punk. I would throw 09 Taker in there too. He was still full-time at that point. Mario said, into the Hall of Fame is kind of a farce, but which recent induction did you think was undeserving? Undeserving? Oh, yeah, New Jersey SummerSlam this year. Yeah, I like SummerSlam this past year. I thought it was decent. It was a mixed bag, but it wasn't a great show. 2024 SummerSlam was better. The two-night SummerSlams I don't like. Anyway, undeserving Hall of Fame induction? I don't even know, brother. I don't even know. I mean, I'd have to go back and look because I don't even remember. I mean, no offense, but Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler, come on, man. Why are they in but not like Victoria or Mickie James? That's just stupid. I'd probably go with one of them. The Bella Twins, I think, are more deserving than those two. But I like Stacy and I like Tori, but still, I would not put them in. VA Sports said, yeah, it is true. His name is Gavin, and he has been working at WWE for 5 years. It makes sense when you look at how many black wrestlers have been pushed since Bianca's been off television. VA Sport, let me make this abundantly clear. First of all, why would you out the guy's name like that? If you have a friend in catering that is leaking information to you, you just got the guy fired by saying that. Second of all, there is no fucking way that Bianca is healthy. First of all, there's no fucking way that someone in catering would know that. Second of all, not that Bianca would spend any time in catering, she would be on TV. If Bianca is healthy, there is 0% chance that they would intentionally keep her off the show with all the injuries they're dealing with right now, including for a match that would make sense for her against Jade. Why would you not want... Let me ask you this. If they want more black representation on SmackDown VA Sport, if they want more, I mean, I'm not trying to shit on you, but this is just preposterous that you would even believe this. If they wanted more black representation, you're going to keep one of your biggest black females off of the card, despite the fact she's been gone for a year, and she's a star. So Jade, who is a black female champion, by the way, who's already on the show, I mean, Jade's not going to get less TV time because Bianca's there. They're going to give Bianca's spot to another black performer instead if Bianca's off the show. They're going to give her spot. Let's break out the trusty notebook here, guys. They're going to make Jade's opponent another black performer in, let me check my notes here, Rhea Ripley. I didn't know Rhea Ripley was black. News to me. Do I see Braun Breaker getting healthy enough to face Rollins at SummerSlam or Mania? I hope so. I don't think he will, though. I mean, I don't think he will. I hope so. I don't know who Rollins really works with otherwise, and it better not be Brock. Noel said 01 to 02 SummerSlam probably is the greatest back-to-back. It might be. I mean, I mentioned that as a possibility earlier. I haven't seen SummerSlam 01 in a long time. Who do I think is the freakiest wrestler of all time? It depends what your definition of freaky is, Chris Faplander. SummerSlam 97 to 98? Maybe Grunt. Maybe. I remember major matches from those shows, like Highway to Hell. I remember Rock and Triple H. I don't remember most of the other, like the rest of those cards, though. That's why I don't want to say SummerSlam 97 to 98. As the two best ever, I don't think so. Like back-to-back. Best Survivor Series with both War Games matches, that was great. 2025 was in New Jersey. Don't disrespect my state. Daniel, I'm sorry. I love you, brother. New Jersey's a fucking dump. Always has been. Always will be. I apologize, but I don't make the rules. New Jersey is somewhere here in the garbage, right next to Trevor. Best Rumble event with both Rumbles. Great. What are you talking about, Johnny? Chris Faplander said, respectfully, why would Bianca need to be off TV for another black wrestler to get over? Exactly. Alexis said, that also makes no sense. Like, the more black representation, the better. Why would they have to keep Bianca off TV for that to happen? Yeah, exactly. We're all asking the same question. No one really seems to know the answer except for VA Sport. Can someone find Gavin and ask him? Chris, I think he's got to be trolling. There's no way that he's serious. Chris said, WWE is so nonsensical, VA Sport could be telling the truth. Honestly, who the fuck knows? Maybe that's Triple H's burner. I also need to see evidence of that, Johnny. I agree. Were the triple singles years the best stretch of pay-per-views, Chris Fatlander said? Yes, the triple single years are definitely the best stretch of pay-per-views. No pay-per-view that has Trevor on it, only the shows with Bon Quivy on it. And Tyreek. We love Tyreek. And love Ziggler, of course, too. Jersey having the same heat as Trevor is nasty work. I don't make the rules. I said that. I was asking you both when the women and men's matches were great. Okay. When were both War Games matches great, and when were the Rumbles both great? I mean, there's not many SummerSlams to speak of where that was the case. Probably 2022, the first Survivor Series with both War Games. Every other War Game since then for the men or women has either been a mixed or just not good. Probably 2022. And even the women's one in 2022 wasn't amazing, but it was still pretty good. For a Rumble where both Rumbles were great, 2018 probably. The men's and women's that year were both excellent. Not 2019. 2020, the women's Rumble was good. The men's Rumble was way better. 2021, they were decent during COVID, though. 2022, no. 2023 through 2025 were all very good. I would say 2025 and 2018 were the best Rumbles for both the men and the women on the same show. Send Gavin. Where's Gavin? Yeah, we need to find where the fuck Gavin is. Freakiest wrestler is probably Viscera. Yeah, I think you're right. Rest in peace. I think you're right, Emmanuel. I heard New Jersey pizza is top 5. Well, I've never had pizza in New Jersey, so to my knowledge anyway. Maybe I have. I don't remember. Noel said, I will die on this. Vince is planning Stone Cold to lose to Brock in King of the Ring qualifier is so dumb. Instead of in the finals match, also, can you blame Steve for walking out? No, too. Yeah, that was definitely dumb. Do I blame Steve for walking out? Yes. I mean, he has admitted he shouldn't have walked out. That was a bit of an overreaction. But no, Vince should not have done that. That was fucking stupid to book him in a qualifying match and not even the finals or the quarterfinals or the semifinals or whatever the fuck. Emmanuel said, shout out to the 06 Rumble where Viscera dry humped Matt Hardy. Oh, I know. I've rewatched it and I'd rather forget. Faplander said, which current roster member do you think Hunter secretly hates the most? Is it LA Knight? Honestly, it might be LA Knight. I think he resents the fact that LA Knight is so organically over and he does not see him as a world champion. Genuinely, I feel that way. I don't feel that way about almost anyone else but LA Knight. I'm not talking about the clip from Unreal where he yelled at him. Like, he didn't fucking yell at him. If you think Triple H was yelling at him, then you're just a fucking baby, okay? He wasn't yelling at Triple H. Triple H was not yelling at LA Knight. LA Knight fucked up the spot. He deserved whatever he got coming to him. I still think Triple H is not like LA Knight, though. I maintain that. Can confirm Johnny on the pizza. And Fatlander said, Gavin versus Trevor? Gavin would probably win. Gavin may not show up, so Trevor might win and get all the heat. How about for the Money in the Bank show, where the 2 Money in the Bank matches were both great? Well, let's see. They've been doing men and women. What, for the men and women's Money in the Bank? Or like just both Money in the Bank matches? 2013, I thought both Money in the Bank matches were excellent. 2011, I thought the SmackDown one was amazing. The Raw one was pretty good. 2012, no. 2010, no. 2014, no. Maybe. 2015, no. 2016, I think there was only one. 2017, they only had one. 2018 is when they started doing both. I think, right? No, they did a women's one in 2017. Not 2017. 2018, no. 2019, I was there for that. No. They were decent. They were okay. 2020 was fun. The headquarters shit was fun. I will say that. 2021, I don't really remember all the Money in the Bank ladder matches from the last few years. I don't remember. 2022, I don't know. 2023, they were both good. 2024, they were fine. 2025. Who won them last year? I am blanking on what the fuck happened last year. Oh yeah, Rollin, not last year. Yeah, I'd probably go 2011 or 2013. Why do you think Austin doesn't get more flack for not doing business with other wrestlers, putting them over, or his domestic issues with Deborah? It's because he's a massive star. That's why. Austin is so beloved that people are willing to overlook that shit. I mean, I could sit here and tell you that Stone Cold's one of the greatest of all time, but he also has his flaws with the domestic abuse issues. I mean, that shit cannot be overlooked or ignored. I mean, that shit is absolutely, I mean, it's definitely, it's not as big of a strain on his legacy. I don't know if he was ever accountable for it, like as far as like him saying sorry and shit. Hogan was way worse because Hogan fucking dug his heels deeper in all of the dumb shit that he did, and he stood by it, which I can almost respect. But to a certain, I mean, I really can't though, because he was just a bad person. Yeah, that's why that shit doesn't get brought up more. Hashtag love Gavin. Alexis said, we got Love Ziggler, then Bon Quivy, now Trevor and Gavin. I can't keep up. Well, you're forgetting Tyreek. We have Bon Quivy. We got Triple Single. Don't forget, Triple Single is our version of 6'7". Alexis, it never ends. It never does end. How much do you think changes if Kevin Dunn left sooner? The production would have changed. That's really about it. Not the product itself would not have changed that drastically. VA Sportsback said, Street Profits are also off TV. Bianca and Jade did not get along backstage. Gavin got his information from the catering crew on the road. I thought you said he isn't catering, though, so is he not on the road? Graham, you don't have to believe me, but it's true. But VA Sport, let me ask you this. Again, it doesn't make sense. Let me just ask you this as a human being. First of all, I appreciate you commenting in, thank you. But second of all, if they want more people to, like, if they want more black, you're saying black representation. If you said they're keeping the profits off TV to get other teams over, first of all, what other teams would that fucking be? The fucking MFTs? That's a joke. But if you're talking about they're taking these talents off TV to get other black talent over, what black talent is that? Carmelo, Trick? I mean, they were already on Trick's on the show now. Trick can be on the show, and wait for it. Hold on. So can Bianca. One does not have to do with the other. I just think they're not on the show because they have no plans for Montez and Angelo. That has nothing to do with them wanting to get more black talent over. The catering crew would have how the fuck would the catering crew have any idea as to whether Bianca's cleared or not? Why would Bianca not be on the show right now? That makes zero sense. You're telling me what your friend is telling you, but you're not. First of all, I mean, you could tell me that he said that, but how do you know that he's not telling the truth? How would he even know that, brother? There are higher ups in that company that wouldn't even know if Bianca's on her way back, because she's not. If Bianca's not back by now, why would they bring her back? Why would they not bring her back? It's stupid. At least for the black representation thing. If she came back, then cool, I would love that. But I feel like if she was going to come back, it would have been to the Rumble or Chamber, and she's just not there. Emmanuel said, it is kind of crazy about 02 that Hulk Hogan took a tap-out loss to Brock in a SmackDown while Stone Cold just walked out. Yeah, that is kind of crazy. Hogan, the ultimate person who didn't want to lose to shit. But Hogan was on his best behavior. That's because he just came back to the company. That's why. Stone Cold was, fuck this, I'm leaving. He was already pissed. Best women's and men's chamber? Maybe 2023. Maybe last year. Last year had two excellent chambers, so maybe last year. Do you think Montez's recent physique is indicative of how he feels about being in WWE? I don't think that picture was real, Faplander. Or he looked fat. I don't think Montez looks fat. He may not look as jacked as he usually does, but I don't think that picture was real. I saw what you're talking about. I don't think that picture was real. People are very quick to just assume that these things are real without actually, considering the source. It's called AI, brother. Johnny said, top 5 wrestlers you would have loved to have seen HBK wrestle if he was in his prime today. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever. In WWE or anywhere, because I would say Kenny Omega, Ospreay. Fuck, man, I don't know. Yeah, really any of those people, I guess. And again, why would the catering crew have any of this intel? Yeah, I have no idea. Alexis said, bruh, maybe if black wrestlers are off TV, it might not have to do with them being black. Bianca's literally her. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It wasn't just a photo. There's video footage of a house show of Tez. Again, it might, I don't think he was that, like, he may not be in shape. If he's not, like, super in shape, I don't think the picture that I saw was a bad fucking picture. I mean, it was clearly a lighting issue, or it just was not, it was a blurry ass fucking pic. I didn't see a video, okay? But even if it is a video, the guy's not 500 pounds. If he looks less out of shape, it's because he's not on the road at all. They haven't used the guy in months. So I wouldn't even blame him. And if he doesn't give a shit, can you really even blame the guy? He also said, while it is wild for the second straight year, they did not acknowledge Black History Month. I mean, yeah, that I also noticed that. It's crazy. Bianca being off TV and that black talent being pushed is no correlation. Yeah, I don't really think there's any correlation at all. I don't. One of the worst debuts on WrestleRant today. For VA Sport? No, I mean, they've been on the show before. I recognize the name. I have heard from them before. Gavin made his debut today. He's a Gavin. I don't trust Gavin. I'm gonna look up this Montez Ford thing while we're on the fucking video here real quick. Montez Ford, NXT physique. Hold on. Yeah, I'm looking at two different pictures here, okay? I'm looking at two very different pictures here. Montez Ford in one picture from this NXT show looks completely fine. He looks bulkier. He looks fine. Dude, I don't even think these people are the same. I don't even think these are the same person. You see a guy from the side, okay? And then you see him, it doesn't even look like the same person. I don't even think that's a good angle. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Yeah. I see what you're talking about. That is such a terrible fucking picture. It's quickly from the side. Come on, guys. Watch the video. The video, if it's backed up, when it's zoomed in, you see his like stomach out a little bit. Yeah, because he's fucking he's like sticking out like that. He's clearly bulking up. He's not fat. He looks like thick. The one shot where he's like this for like 0.2 seconds. Yeah, he gained weight. It's called fucking muscle mass. Anyone thinking that he's fat is just, I mean, wild, man. That is crazy. That is nasty work. Triple H doesn't see color, guys. Exactly. Alexis with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much. And she is not wrong. Alexis, Triple H did indeed admit he does not see color. Is Gavin our new Meltzer? He might be. Hey, listen, I will apologize to you if it comes back and you're right. VA Sport, if you're still here. If you are correct, I apologize. I see no reason as to why that would be accurate, though. That just sounds like complete bullshit. Pass or watch, Taz versus Zack Sabre Jr. I'd watch that. Sounds cool. Bret Hart versus Darby Allin. Watch. Sounds good. Might have to leave soon, but have you heard about WWE 2K26 and the new My GM changes? I have not, Emmanuel. I'll be winding down soon, so if I end the video, just drop a comment on my next hashtag GSM for GM video. I am curious what the changes are, or I'll just look it up. I have not heard about the changes. I have not been following. I wasn't fond of the new changes they made for 2K25, to be honest. Fatblander says, why does every small, big wrestler get the HBK Diesel comp? I don't know. I mean, it works for, like, it made sense for Liv and Raquel. But not everyone is HBK and Diesel. Also, Diesel on his own was fucking boring for a while there. So, I mean, Raquel's not the most exciting either. But people use that comp for, like, Trick and Mello. Neither of them are Diesel. Trick is way better. China Rio, China Io, I guess watch. I don't know. I guess those two would get the best match possible out of China. Fatblander said, do you think Taz would have done better in WWE if he was taller? Yes, he would. His size had a lot to do with his lack of success. Taz was excellent. He was a badass, but he was so fucking short, Vince was never going to push him for more than like a month. That was never going to work, even if he didn't get hurt. The size had a lot to do with it. Taz is extremely small. Which press conference were you involved in and asked questions? Would love to go back and watch. A lot of them. If you go back and watch I was at the Survivor Series 2022 press conference, Rumble 2023. I didn't ask great questions at all of these. I'm just saying I was involved in them. I asked better questions at other ones. But you can catch me on the Survivor Series 2022 press conference, the Royal Rumble 2023 press conference, the Elimination Chamber 2023 press conference, both nights of WrestleMania 39 press conference, SummerSlam 2023 press conference. Survivor Series that year? No. Definitely those. Rumble 2024, Mania 40, both nights. I talked to The Rock on night 1, and then Rumble last year. I think that might have been the last one I was involved in. I was at Mania's this past year. Didn't get to ask a question, though. I wasn't at Mania for the first night. I was at Mania the second. I didn't ask a question. SummerSlam 2023, I was there. I don't know if I got to ask a question. I thought I did. I don't remember. But I was at a lot of them, though. What is my favorite Diesel match? Maybe him and Bret Hart. Him and Shawn, right before he left for WCW, was also good. Him and Bret Hart, but I think the Rumble 95, I want to say. I forgot which pay-per-view. I would have had to ask CM Punk, when was the last time he'd been in the Target? Well, he would have been fucking pissed at you if you asked that. And if he understood the reference of what you were talking about, he would not have been happy. That would have ended very poorly. But that is a pretty funny question. I would not ask that question. Would I laugh if someone else did? I would. I would not ask that myself. I feel like he would brawl out would ensue with him beating my ass in that moment. All right, guys, so we're going to get out of here. This has been a great episode. Thank you so much, as always. If you're watching, be sure to like on your way out. The likes always help. Give it a thumbs up. Come on, it helps the algorithm. Like the video. Subscribe, Be notified every time we upload new videos and go live. That stuff is always appreciated. Every new like helps Triple H see color, so be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Want to shout out the channel members real quick. Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel, Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1, at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau himself, at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie, Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt, at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information down below in the description box on how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member. Top billing and hashtag AskGSM, shout-outs at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do, badges and emojis in the live chats, and so much more. Help support the channel by signing up for a membership today. Would greatly appreciate it. You will be you'll be notified in the chat here on these streams if you do so, and it's a great badge of honor. No pun intended. And that's really about it. But if you want to send in questions to next week's episode, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/gram.gsm.matthews. Drop a comment on the post. I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, I'll include your question in the comment section down below. Include your question in the comment section down below on this very video. After the video is done processing and after we're done being live, I'll include your question in next week's episode for next week's video. So that's about it. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. You said Jade did well after her streak ended. Did well with what? In AEW? I mean, her streak lasted the entire time. She had one match after that, and then she left. If that's what you mean. I know you're talking about the streak stuff. The streak stuff was from like an hour ago, but yeah, of course she did well after it ended. She left and went to WWE. But nonetheless, guys, really fun time today. Thank you again. Be sure to like the video on your way out. Very much appreciated. We will be back on Thursday. Time TBD. Myself and Mr. Marceau reviewing Elimination Chamber and some updates on the road to WrestleMania. We will attempt to put together a card for Mania 42. What will it look like? Who makes the card? Who doesn't? Who's on the chopping block? Who's on the bubble right now for WrestleMania 42? A lot to discuss coming up on Thursday's WrestleRant Radio with myself and Mr. Marceau. Until then, guys, more content coming to the channel here very soon, including a new episode, the penultimate episode of hashtag AskGSM, I think maybe ever, potentially, question mark. That's coming up tomorrow here on the channel. Until next time, guys, I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll catch your ass down the road.